Hello and welcome back to Midnight Mind. I'm glad you're here tonight, ready for another peaceful journey as you prepare for sleep. Tonight, we're exploring the moon, that ancient companion glowing softly in the darkness above. It's been watching over Earth for 4.5 billion years, long before life emerged, long before oceans formed, long before anything you recognize existed. The moon was already there, orbiting silently, faithfully circling our planet through the vast emptiness of space. And it's there right now, this very moment, even if clouds hide it from view, even if daylight makes it invisible, even if you can't see it. The moon is there, always present, always keeping Earth company, always following its ancient path. The moon is always there, always present, always watching. This is comforting. This is peaceful. This is something you can rely on in a world where everything changes, where everything is uncertain, where nothing seems permanent. The moon remains. The moon endures. The moon continues its ancient path around Earth, night after night, month after month, year after year, century after century, for billions of years. The moon has been there. I will be there tomorrow. Will be there next week. Will be there long after you're gone. This constant is beautiful. It is soothing, is something to rest tonight as you let go, as you relax, as you allow sleep to come. Let's talk about how old the moon is. Let's talk about its birth, its origin, its beginning. The moon is ancient, incredibly ancient, old beyond human comprehension, 4.5 billion years old, born shortly after Earth itself, when the solar system was young, when everything was new and violent and chaotic, when planets were still forming, still colliding, still finding their places. Something massive struck Earth, something huge, something catastrophic. Scientists call this object Theia, named after a Greek titan, a Mars-sized world. Imagine that. An entire planet the size of Mars, crashing into Earth. This collision was violent. It was enormous. It was one of the most dramatic events in Earth's entire history. The impact was unimaginable, released more energy than anything you could comprehend, more than every nuclear weapon ever made, more than every volcano erupting simultaneously, more than anything humans have ever witnessed. The collision melted both worlds, melted rock, melted metal, created temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun, threw material into space, threw molten rock outward, threw debris into orbit around Earth. The violence was complete, was total, was catastrophic. But from this violence came something beautiful, something gentle, something peaceful. From this catastrophe came the moon, the debris thrown into orbit, the molten rock circling Earth, the material from both worlds mixed together. This debris slowly came together, slowly clumped, slowly coalesced. Gravity pulled it together, pulled fragments toward fragments, pulled pieces into larger pieces. Over time, this debris formed a ring around Earth, and that ring gradually formed into one object, into one body, into the moon. From violence came beauty. From catastrophe came companionship. From destruction came creation. This is the moon's birth. This is how our companion began. This happened 4.5 billion years ago. Let that number rest in your mind. 4,500 million years. Longer than you can imagine. Longer than you can comprehend. Longer than human minds were designed to understand. The moon has been there almost as long as Earth itself, has been orbiting, has been present. I have been watching for 4.5 billion years through everything, through every event, through every change, through the formation of oceans, through the first rain falling on bare rock, through the emergence of the first living cells, through every extinction event, through the age of dinosaurs that lasted hundreds of millions of years, through their extinction, through the ice ages, through the rise of mammals, through every moment of human history, every civilization, every empire, every person who ever lived, the moon was there, watching. Constant, unchanged, eternal. Think about that. Think about the moon watching dinosaurs, watching them roam Earth for 165 million years, watching them go extinct, watching mammals rise, watching ice ages come and go, watching continents drift, watching mountains rise and erode, watching everything change while the moon remained. The moon has witnessed all of Earth's history, has been the silent observer, the constant companion, the unchanging witness to everything that ever happened on Earth. This is profound, this is humbling, this is beautiful in a way that makes you feel small but also connected, connected to deep time, connected to ancient history, connected to something vast and eternal. The moon formed from Earth? This is one of the most beautiful things about it. The moon is not a stranger, not a visitor from elsewhere, not something captured by Earth's gravity, not something that formed independently and happened to pass by. The moon is made of Earth. It is part of Earth, is Earth's child in a way, born from Earth's body, made from Earth's material. The collision with Theia threw Earth's material into orbit, mixed Earth's rock with Theia's rock, and that material became the moon. So when you look at the moon tonight, when you see it hanging in the sky, when you watch its gentle light, you're looking at Earth's matter, at Earth's substance transformed, reformed, shaped into something new, but still Earth, still connected, still family. This is poetic. This is beautiful. This is the moon. Part of us, part of Earth, part of home. The moon is not separate from Earth, is not foreign, is not alien. The moon is Earth looking back at itself, is Earth's companion made from Earth's own body. This connection is real, it is physical, is literal. The atoms in the moon came from Earth. The rock on the moon's surface was once Earth's rock. The iron in the moon's core was once Earth's iron. Everything about the moon came from Earth. This makes the moon intimate. Make it family. Make it home even though it's in space, even though it's separate, even though it's 250,000 miles away. The moon is still part of Earth, still connected, still ours. The moon is moving away. This is sad but also beautiful. Slowly, gradually, imperceptibly. Every year, the moon drifts a little farther from Earth, about 3.8 centimeters per year, about 1.5 inches. This is tiny, is barely noticeable, is nothing you could see, nothing you could measure without precise instruments. Would take lifetimes to notice the difference, but it's happening. Right now, tonight, as you sleep, the moon is slowly drifting away, slowly leaving, slowly increasing the distance between Earth and moon, moving outward, moving farther, moving away. This happens because of tides, because of the gravitational dance between Earth and moon. The moon pulls on Earth, pulls on the oceans, creates tides, creates bulges in the water, one bulge facing the moon, one bulge on the opposite side. These bulges are the tides. High tide where the bulges are, low tide in between. Earth rotates faster than the moon orbits. Earth spins once every 24 hours. The moon orbits once every 27 days. This difference matters. The spinning Earth tries to drag the tidal bulges with it, tries to pull them forward. This creates friction, creates a transfer of energy, creates a transfer of angular momentum from Earth to Moon. This transfer pushes the Moon into a higher orbit, a farther orbit, an orbit that's slowly growing larger, slowly expanding, slowly moving away from Earth. At the same time, Earth's rotation is slowing. Days are getting longer, very slowly, about 1.7 milliseconds per century. You'd never notice. No human would ever notice in their lifetime. But it's happening. Earth is slowing, Moon is receding. The dance between them is changing, very slowly, very gradually, but changing. Everything changes, even the most constant things, even the Moon, even the ancient relationship between Earth and Moon. Everything changes over deep time. 3.8 centimeters per year doesn't sound like much. Doesn't sound significant. Doesn't sound like something to worry about. And it's not. Not for you. Not for anyone you'll ever know. Not for humanity. But over deep time it adds up. Over millions of years it adds up significantly. When dinosaurs walked Earth, the Moon was closer, was about 20,000 kilometers closer, appeared larger in the sky, filled more space, created stronger tides. The tides were higher, were more dramatic, were more powerful. Days were shorter because Earth spun faster. A day was only 23 hours. The Moon orbited faster. A month was shorter. Everything was different. And billions of years from now, if you could be there, if Earth still exists, the Moon would be farther, would appear smaller, would look like a bright star almost, would create weaker tides, would orbit more slowly. Everything changes. Even the Moon, even the most constant thing in the night sky. Even this ancient companion is slowly drifting away. This is sad in a way. The Moon is leaving, is slowly abandoning Earth, is slowly breaking the ancient connection. Eventually, far in the future, so far, you can't imagine the Moon will be so far away that total solar eclipses will no longer be possible. The Moon will appear smaller than the Sun, will no longer perfectly cover it, will no longer create that perfect alignment that makes total eclipses so spectacular. This is loss. This is change. This is the universe reminding us that nothing lasts forever. Not even the Moon. Not even this ancient perfect relationship between Earth and Moon. Everything changes. Everything drifts. Everything ends eventually. But this is also beautiful. Beautiful in a melancholy way. Beautiful in the way all impermanent things are beautiful. The Moon is leaving, but so slowly, so gradually, so imperceptibly that it might as well be staying. The Moon will be there for your entire life, for your children's lives, for your grandchildren's lives, for countless generations, for millions of years, for longer than humanity has existed, for longer than humanity will likely exist. The drifting is so slow, so gradual, so gentle. You'll never notice. Your descendants won't notice. The Moon will look the same, will be the same constant presence, the same gentle light, the same beautiful companion in the night sky. Don't worry. Don't be sad. The Moon isn't leaving soon, isn't going anywhere in any time frame that matters to humans, to life, to anything you could care about. The Moon will be there tonight. Will be there tomorrow night. Will be there for as long as humans exist. For as long as anyone you could ever care about exists. The Moon will be there. Constant, reliable, unchanging. This is comforting. This is peaceful. This is something to rest in. The Moon is there, has always been there, will always be there, for you, for everyone, forever in human terms. This is home. This is comfort. This is peace. The Moon stabilizes Earth. This is one of the moon's most important gifts, most valuable contributions, most essential functions. The moon's gravity keeps Earth's axial tilt stable. Earth tilts on its axis, about 23.5 degrees. This tilt is why we have seasons, why summer and winter exist, why the sun appears higher in summer and lower in winter, why days are longer in summer and shorter in winter. This tilt creates the rhythm of the year, creates the cycle of seasons, creates the pattern that life depends on. Plants growing in spring, flourishing in summer, preparing in fall, resting in winter. This rhythm is fundamental to life, is essential to ecosystems, is part of how Earth works. But without the moon, this tilt would wobble, would change dramatically, would swing wildly over thousands of years, would vary from almost 0 degrees to 85 degrees, would create chaos, would create dramatic climate instability. Imagine Earth with no tilt, no seasons, the same temperature year-round. Then imagine Earth tilted 85 degrees, the poles pointing almost at the sun, creating extreme seasons, creating regions that bake for months, then freeze for months, creating climate chaos, creating conditions that change too rapidly for life to adapt. This would happen without the moon. The tilt would wobble, would change, would swing between extremes, would make Earth unstable, would make complex life difficult, maybe impossible. But the moon prevents this. The moon's gravity holds Earth steady, keeps the tilt stable, keeps it at 23.5 degrees, keeps it constant, keeps it reliable, keeps the seasons predictable, keeps the climate relatively stable, not perfectly stable. Earth's climate still changes, still varies, still goes through ice ages and warm periods, but these changes are gradual, are slow, are something life can adapt to. Without the moon, the changes would be rapid, would be dramatic, would be chaotic. Life would struggle, would face constant dramatic change, would have trouble adapting, would have trouble surviving. Complex life might never have developed, might never have evolved, might never have had the stability it needed. This stability allowed life to flourish, allowed evolution to proceed gradually, allowed organisms to adapt to consistent conditions, allowed complexity to develop, allowed ecosystems to form, allowed the intricate web of life to develop, allowed intelligence to emerge, allowed humans to exist. Without the moon, Earth would be different, dramatically different, possibly lifeless, or at least without complex life, without animals, without plants as we know them, without anything resembling the rich diversity of life that covers Earth today. The moon made this possible. The moon's gravity, the moon's mass, the moon's presence. The moon keeps Earth stable, keeps Earth habitable, keeps Earth alive. Think about that tonight as you fall asleep. The moon is up there right now, even if you can't see it, even if it's cloudy, even if it's daytime where you are, even if it's new moon and invisible. The moon is there, orbiting, pulling on Earth with its gravity, keeping Earth steady, keeping Earth stable, keeping Earth habitable, doing what it's done for billions of years, 4.5 billion years, every single day, every single hour, every single moment, protecting, stabilizing, watching over Earth, making life possible, making your existence possible, making everything possible. This is happening right now, while you sleep, while you rest, while you let go of your day. The moon is working, is doing its ancient job, is keeping Earth steady. You can rest in this, can trust this, can let go, knowing the moon is there. Has always been there, will always be there, watching, protecting, stabilizing, keeping Earth safe, keeping Earth stable, keeping Earth alive. This is peace, this is comfort, this is safety, this is home. The moon is your guardian, Earth's guardian, life's guardian, silent, constant, eternal, watching over everything, protecting everything, making everything possible. The moon creates tides. Everyone knows this. But think about what this means. Think about the beauty of it. Think about the mechanism. The moon is 240,000 miles away. 240,000 miles. That's far. That's almost the distance of traveling around Earth 10 times. That's traveling from New York to Los Angeles 85 times. That's far. And yet from that distance, the moon pulls on Earth's oceans, pulls water toward it. Pulls with gravity, pulls enough to move billions of tons of water, pulls enough to raise the ocean, pulls enough to create tides. The moon's gravity pulls water into a bulge facing the moon, where the pull is strongest. This creates high tide. On the opposite side of Earth, away from the moon, inertia creates another bulge, another high tide. The water on the far side is farther from the moon, is pulled less, wants to continue moving in a straight line while Earth curves beneath it. This creates the second bulge. So there are two high tides, one facing the moon, one facing away. And between these bulges the water is lower. This is low tide. As Earth rotates under these bulges, coastlines experience the rhythm of tides. High tide, low tide, high tide, low tide, twice a day, every day, for billions of years. This rhythm is ancient, is constant, is reliable, is something you can count on. You can set your watch by it, can plan your life around it, can trust it completely. The tides will come, the tides will go, the water will rise, the water will fall. The moon ensures this, the moon creates this, the moon maintains this ancient rhythm. This has been happening since the moon formed, since oceans formed, since water covered Earth. Billions of years of tides, billions of years of this rhythm, billions of years of the moon pulling on Earth, billions of years of this connection, this dance, this relationship between Earth and moon made visible. This rhythm shaped life, shaped evolution, shaped the development of complex organisms. Early life emerged in tidal zones, in the intertidal zone, in the space between high and low tide, where ocean meets land, where water comes and goes twice a day. This zone is unique, was challenging, is dynamic, is constantly changing. When tide is high, the zone is underwater. Organisms there are submerged, are swimming, are in ocean. When tide is low, the zone is exposed, is in air, is on land, is dry. Organisms there must survive both conditions, must handle being underwater, must handle being in air, must adapt to both, must survive constant change. This is challenging, is difficult, is demanding. Most organisms can't do this, can't survive both underwater and in air, can't handle the transition, can't adapt to such dramatic changes twice a day, every day. But some organisms did. Some organisms adapted. Some organisms evolved features that allowed them to survive, to thrive, to succeed in this challenging environment. These organisms developed lungs, developed the ability to breathe air, developed the ability to survive out of water, developed features that would later allow life to move on to land, to colonize land, to leave the ocean entirely. The tides created by the moon made this possible, made this evolutionary pressure, made this challenge, made this opportunity. Without tides, life might have stayed in the ocean, might never have faced the challenge of surviving in air, might never have developed lungs, might never have moved onto land, might never have become terrestrial. might never have become complex land animals, might never have become mammals, might never have become primates, might never have become humans. The moon's tides helped create the world we know, helped drive evolution, helped create the diversity of life, helped create us. This is the moon's gift. This is the moon's contribution. This is why the moon matters. The tides are still here, still happening, still following the moon, still rising and falling twice a day. If you live near the coast, you can watch them, can see the water rise and fall, can see the moon's influence made visible, made tangible, made real, made something you can observe. You can stand on the beach and watch the water come in, watch it rise, watch it cover sand that was dry, watch it reach higher and higher. This is high tide. This is the moon pulling. This is gravity made visible. Then you can watch the water recede, watch it fall, watch it expose sand that was underwater, watch it retreat. This is low tide. This is the tide ebbing. This is the rhythm continuing. This is the moon touching Earth, the moon reaching across space, the moon affecting our world from 250,000 miles away. This is connection made visible, made real, made something you can experience. This is gravity made visible, made observable, made beautiful. The connection between Earth and moon made real, made present, made something you can see and touch and feel. The tides are proof, proof that the moon is there, proof that the moon affects us, proof that we're connected to something beyond Earth, connected to space, connected to the cosmos, connected to the ancient dance of gravity and motion and time. This is beautiful. This is profound. This is the moon touching your world. The moon has no atmosphere, no air, no wind, no weather, no clouds, no storms, no rain, no snow, nothing. Nothing between surface and space, just rock and vacuum, just ground and emptiness. Just surface exposed directly to space. This means many things. Means the moon is silent, completely silent, perfectly silent, absolutely silent. Sound needs air to travel, needs atmosphere, needs molecules to vibrate, needs something to carry the vibration from source to ear. Without atmosphere, there's no sound, none at all, not even a whisper, not even the faintest noise. Even if you were standing on the moon, even if you could survive there in a spacesuit, even if you were making noise inside your suit, even if you dropped something, even if you jumped, even if you screamed, you'd hear nothing outside your suit, nothing at all. Perfect silence, complete silence, absolute silence. The moon doesn't transmit sound, can't transmit sound, has nothing to carry vibrations. You could watch a rock fall and hit the ground and hear nothing. Could watch a boulder roll down a slope and hear nothing. Could watch an impact and hear nothing. Perfect silence. This is the moon. This has always been the moon. This will always be the moon. This silence is profound, is beautiful, is eerie, is something beyond human experience. Even the quietest place on earth has some sound, some vibration, some noise, some atmosphere carrying some sound from somewhere, but the moon has none. The moon is silent, has been silent for 4.5 billion years, will be silent forever. Eternal silence, complete silence, perfect stillness, no traffic, no voices, no machines, no wind, no rain, no birds, no insects, no rustling leaves, no flowing water, no anything, just silence, pure silence, perfect silence, the silence of vacuum, the silence of airlessness, the silence of places where sound cannot exist. This silence has existed since the moon lost its atmosphere, since the moon's gravity proved too weak to hold air, since the moon became the dead airless world it is today. This was billions of years ago, early in the moon's history. The silence has persisted since then, has continued, has remained, will remain, is permanent, is eternal, is unchanging. You can imagine this silence tonight, can rest in this imagined quiet, can let the idea of perfect silence calm your mind, calm your thoughts, calm your nervous system, calm everything. The moon is silent, and you can be silent too. Can rest in quiet, can let go of noise, can let go of sound, can let go of the constant noise of daily life, can imagine the perfect silence of the moon, can let that silence fill your mind, fill your thoughts, fill your awareness. The moon is silent, space is silent, the universe beyond atmosphere is silent. This silence is peace, is stillness, is rest. You can rest in this, can sleep in this, can let go into perfect quiet, into perfect stillness, into perfect peace. The moon's silence, the silence of space, the silence of eternity. The moon has no weather. This is related to having no atmosphere. Weather requires air, requires atmosphere, requires gases to move and swirl and form patterns, requires heat and cold and moisture and pressure differences. The moon has none of this, has no air, no moisture, no clouds forming and dissipating, no storms building and breaking, no rain falling, no snow drifting, no wind blowing, just rock and sunlight and shadow, just heat where sunlight hits, just cold where shadow falls, just stillness. Perfect stillness, no movement, no change from weather, just the slow, patient change of cosmic time. The moon's surface doesn't change from weather, doesn't erode from wind wearing away rock, doesn't rust from rain bringing moisture, doesn't weather from storms breaking things down, doesn't change from any of the processes that constantly reshape Earth, changes only from impacts, from meteorites, from rocks falling from space, from cosmic debris hitting the surface. This happens, but rarely, very rarely, much less than it used to. The moon changes incredibly slowly, looks almost the same as it did millions of years ago, will look almost the same millions of years from now. This constancy is beautiful, is calming, is something stable in a changing universe. On Earth, everything changes. Weather changes daily, hourly, minute by minute. Landscapes change from erosion, mountains erode from wind and rain and ice, valleys deepen from rivers, coastlines shift from waves. Nothing stays the same, nothing lasts, everything is temporary, everything is changing. Rock becomes sand, sand becomes sediment, sediment becomes rock again. The cycle continues, everything changes, but the moon is different. The moon changes so slowly that it might as well be permanent, might as well be eternal, might as well be unchanging. The footprints left by Apollo astronauts are still there, still visible, still preserved exactly as they were left. In 1969, in 1972, over 50 years ago, the footprints remain, will remain for millions of years. Nothing will erase them, no wind to blow them away, no rain to wash them away, no erosion to smooth them out. Just preservation, just permanence, just marks that last forever. This is the moon, unchanging, permanent, eternal, a place where nothing fades, nothing erodes, nothing disappears, where marks last forever, where presence is permanent, where time moves differently, where change happens so slowly it might as well not happen at all. The moon shows us the same face, always the same side, always the same features, always the same seas and craters and highlands, Every time you look at the moon, you see the same view, the same face, the same patterns. This happens because the moon is tidally locked to Earth. The moon rotates on its axis at exactly the same rate it orbits Earth. One rotation equals one orbit. Takes 27.3 days for both. This synchronization means the same side always faces Earth, always points toward Earth, always shows Earth the same face, has shown Earth the same face for billions of years. Every human who ever lived saw the same side of the moon, the same face, the same features, the same patterns. Ancient humans saw the same moon you see, same Maria, same craters, same highlands. Ancient civilizations looked at the same moon, built monuments aligned with the same moon, worshipped the same moon, told stories about the same moon. Every person throughout history, every culture, every civilization, everyone saw the same moon, sees the same moon, will see the same moon. This is constancy. This is reliability. This is something you can absolutely count on. The moon will look the same tonight as it did last night, as it did last month, as it did when you were a child, as it did for your parents, for your grandparents, for your ancestors going back thousands of years, for your ancestors going back tens of thousands of years, for early humans, for Homo erectus, for earlier hominids, for the primates that came before, for the mammals before them, for the dinosaurs, for everything that ever looked at the moon. The same face, the same view, the same features, unchanging, constant, eternal. This is beautiful. This is comforting. This is home. There's another side, though, the far side, the hidden side, the side that never faces Earth, the side we couldn't see until we sent spacecraft around the moon, until we orbited, until we looked back at what had always been hidden. This far side remained mysterious until 1959, until the Soviet Luna 3 spacecraft photographed it for the first time, until humans finally saw what had been hidden for all of history, all of human history, all of life's history, hidden, unknown, mysterious. This far side is different from the near side, has fewer Maria, fewer dark, smooth plains, more craters, more highlands, more rough terrain, different geology, different history, different appearance, but the same ancient age, the same 4.5 billion years, the same silent stillness, the same airless perfection, the same lunar peace. This far side exists in permanent mystery for Earth observers, for people standing on Earth looking up. You can never see it, can never observe it, can never view it no matter how good your telescope. It's hidden, always hidden, forever hidden behind the bulk of the moon itself. This far side exists unseen from Earth, unknown to direct observation, hidden. But it's there, has always been there, always will be there. The hidden face of the moon, the side we can't see, the mystery that remains even in the age of spaceflight, even in the age of lunar exploration, even in the age of detailed maps and photographs. There's still something hidden, something we can't see from Earth, something that reminds us that even familiar things have hidden depths, hidden faces, hidden mysteries. The moon has secrets, has hidden aspects, has things we can never see from home. This is beautiful. This is mysterious. This is poetic. But the near side, the side we see, the side facing Earth, this is familiar, is known, is memorized by humanity over millennia. You can see features with your naked eye, can see the dark Maria, the lunar seas, ancient lava flows that filled impact basins billions of years ago. These appear dark against the brighter highlands, create patterns, create shapes that humans have interpreted for thousands of years, create the face some people see, the rabbit that some cultures see, the man in the moon that other cultures see, the woman, the toad, the buffalo. Whatever your culture sees in the patterns, whatever shapes your ancestors found in the light and dark patches, these patterns are the same, are unchanged, are eternal. What your ancestors saw is what you see. What you see is what your descendants will see. The patterns don't change. The features don't shift. The moon's face remains constant. What ancient humans saw 20,000 years ago is what you see tonight. What you see tonight is what humans will see 20,000 years from now. The moon is constant, is unchanging, is familiar, is reliable, is home in the sky, is the one thing you can look at and know with absolute certainty that you're seeing exactly what your ancestors saw, exactly what every human has seen. This connection through time, this shared experience across millennia, this is the moon, this is home. The moon affects life on Earth, beyond tides, beyond stabilizing Earth's tilt. The moon affects biology directly, affects behavior, affects rhythms, affects life cycles. Many species time their behaviors to lunar cycles, to the phases of the moon, to the monthly rhythm of new moon and full moon. Some species spawn based on lunar cycles, marine organisms especially. Coral reefs spawn in synchrony triggered by the full moon. Millions of organisms releasing eggs and sperm simultaneously, creating clouds of reproductive cells in the water. This happens on specific nights. Full moon nights. The moon triggers this, the moon times this, the moon coordinates this massive reproductive event. Many marine animals time reproduction to lunar cycles. Horseshoe crabs come ashore to spawn during full and new moons when tides are highest. Grunion fish in California beach themselves during high spring tides to lay eggs in sand. The moon creates these spring tides, creates the highest tides, creates the opportunity. The fish have evolved to use this to time their reproduction to these tides, to these moon phases. The moon shapes their behavior, shapes their reproduction, shapes their survival strategy. Some birds migrate based on lunar cycles. This is fascinating, is beautiful, is evidence of how deeply the moon influences life on Earth. Birds, creatures of the sky, creatures that fly between continents, creatures that navigate thousands of miles, use the moon, rely on the moon, time their incredible journeys according to lunar phases. This is not coincidence, not accident. This is evolution. This is adaptation. This is millions of years of birds learning to use the moon, learning to time their migrations to lunar cycles, learning to take advantage of what the moon offers, time their long flights to specific moon phases, not randomly, not haphazardly, but deliberately, specifically. Birds wait for certain phases, wait for the right moon, wait for optimal conditions. Some species migrate during full moon periods, some during new moon periods, some during waxing phases, some during waning phases. Different species have different strategies, different preferences, different adaptations, but all involve the moon. All depend on lunar cycles. All demonstrate that birds pay attention to the moon. Notice the moon. Use the moon for their survival, for their success, for their continuation as species. Use moonlight for navigation. This is one way birds use the moon. Moonlight provides illumination during night migration, allows birds to see, allows them to orient themselves, allows them to recognize landmarks, coastlines, rivers, mountains, lakes, features that help them navigate, help them stay on course, help them reach their destinations. Without moonlight, night migration would be more difficult, more dangerous. more likely to fail. Birds could still migrate using stars, using Earth's magnetic field, using other cues, but moonlight helps, makes navigation easier, makes the journey safer, makes success more likely for orientation. Moonlight helps birds maintain their direction, maintain their heading, maintain their course across vast distances. When you're flying thousands of miles, when you're crossing oceans or continents, when you're traveling from breeding grounds to wintering grounds, orientation is crucial, is essential, is the difference between success and failure, between reaching destination and becoming lost. Moonlight provides reference, provides visibility, provides the ability to see horizons, to see landscapes, to maintain awareness of surroundings. This helps orientation, helps birds stay on course, helps them reach where they need to go. For seeing, simply for vision, for the ability to perceive their environment, birds flying at night need to see, need to avoid obstacles, need to recognize landmarks, need to stay together in flocks, need to watch for predators, need to find places to rest. Moonlight provides this vision, provides enough light to see, not as bright as day, not as clear as sunlight, but sufficient, adequate, enough to fly safely, enough to navigate successfully, enough to survive the journey. Without moonlight, night migration becomes more hazardous, more risky, more dangerous. Moonlight reduces these risks, makes night migration safer, makes it more likely to succeed. The full moon provides light for night migration. This is when moonlight is strongest, brightest, most useful. During full moon, the entire face of the moon is illuminated, reflects maximum sunlight toward Earth, creates maximum brightness. This brightness transforms night, makes it almost like twilight, makes it possible to see clearly, makes navigation easier, makes obstacles visible, makes the journey safer. Many bird species time their migration to coincide with full moon periods. Wait for full moon to begin their journey. Use those bright nights to travel, to cover distance, to make progress toward their destination, makes it safer. This is crucial. Migration is dangerous. Birds face many threats: weather, exhaustion, predators, starvation, getting lost, flying into obstacles. Every factor that increases safety increases survival, increases the chance of reaching the destination, increases the chance of successful breeding, increases the chance of passing genes to the next generation. Moonlight increases safety, helps birds see obstacles, helps them avoid collisions, helps them navigate accurately, helps them stay together in flocks. All of this makes migration safer, makes survival more likely, makes success more probable, makes it easier. This is fundamental. This is crucial. This is the difference between migration that succeeds and migration that fails. This is the difference between birds arriving at their destination and birds perishing along the way. This is the difference between populations that thrive and populations that decline. Making migration easier is not trivial benefit, not minor advantage, not something that merely improves comfort. Making migration easier is survival, is reproduction, is continuation of species, is the difference between life and death multiplied across millions of birds making these journeys twice every year. Anything that makes migration easier matters profoundly, matters at the deepest level, matters in ways that shape evolution, that shape populations, that shape the very existence of migratory species. Migration requires enormous energy. Think about what this means. Think about the metabolic demands. Think about the fuel requirements. Birds preparing for migration must build up fat reserves, must store energy in their bodies, must essentially become flying fuel tanks. Small songbirds that normally weigh 20 grams might double their weight before migration. Add 20 grams of pure fat, pure stored energy. This fat represents thousands of calories, represents weeks of intensive feeding, represents physiological transformation. The bird's entire body chemistry changes, metabolism shifts, organs shrink to make room for fat. Everything becomes optimized for one goal, storing maximum energy for the journey ahead. And then this energy gets burned, gets consumed, gets converted into motion, into flight, into covering vast distances. A bird flying for 8 hours burns enormous calories, burns through fat reserves rapidly, uses energy at rates that would be unsustainable except for the finite duration of migration. The metabolic rate during migration is extraordinary, is at the upper limit of what vertebrate physiology can sustain. Heart rates stay elevated for hours, for days. Muscles work continuously, never rest, never stop contracting and relaxing, thousands of wing beats per hour, tens of thousands of wing beats per day, millions of wing beats over the course of migration. Each wing beat requires energy, requires fuel, requires burning stored fat. The energy demands are staggering, are barely comprehensible, are at the absolute edge of biological possibility. Enormous effort, not just physiological effort, not just the physical work of flying, but cognitive effort, mental effort, the effort of navigation, of decision-making, of constant vigilance, of paying attention every moment for hours without rest. Birds migrating must navigate, must know where they're going, must maintain heading, must make corrections for wind, must recognize when they're off course and adjust. This requires constant mental engagement, constant processing of information, constant decision-making. This cognitive load is exhausting, uses energy, uses resources, depletes mental capacity over time. Birds must also watch for dangers, must monitor for predators, must avoid obstacles, must stay alert to weather changes, must notice when they're becoming exhausted, must decide when to rest, when to feed, when to continue. All of these decisions require mental effort, require attention, require cognitive resources, and all of this happens while flying, while navigating, while covering distance. The bird cannot stop to think, cannot pause to rest its mind while continuing to fly. Everything happens simultaneously. Navigation and flight and vigilance and decision-making all at once, for hours, for days. This effort is enormous, is exhausting, is demanding beyond what most creatures ever experience. Enormous endurance? This might be the most impressive aspect, the sheer endurance required, the ability to sustain effort over time, not for minutes, not for an hour or two, but for many hours, for entire days, for continuous periods that seem impossible. Some small birds fly non-stop across the Gulf of Mexico, 600 miles of open water, 20 hours of continuous flight, no rest, no food, no water, just flying, just wing beats, just sustained effort for 20 hours straight. This is extraordinary, is barely believable, is at the absolute limit of what biology can accomplish. Other migrations are even more extreme. Bar-tailed godwits fly from Alaska to New Zealand, 7,000 miles, non-stop, 8 days of continuous flight, 8 days without landing, without eating, without drinking, without resting, 8 days of wing beats, of navigation, of sustained effort. This seems impossible, seems like it should be impossible, but birds do it every year. Thousands of birds complete this journey. This requires endurance beyond almost anything else in nature, requires bodies and minds that can sustain effort for durations that seem superhuman, that seem supernatural, but are simply biological, simply the result of millions of years of evolution creating bodies capable of these incredible feats. Birds fly for hours. This is standard. This is normal migration. Not the extreme examples, but the typical pattern. Most migrating birds fly for 4 to 8 hours per night, launch at dusk, fly through darkness, land at dawn. This is hours of continuous flight, hours of sustained wing beats, hours of navigation, hours of mental engagement. Every night during migration season, night after night, week after week, the cumulative effect is staggering. The total distance covered is enormous. The total energy expended is extraordinary. And all of this happens in 4 to 8 hour blocks of continuous effort repeated over and over, sometimes for days without stopping. This is the extreme. This is the most demanding migration pattern, crossing large barriers, oceans, deserts, mountain ranges, areas where landing is impossible, where stopping means death. Birds crossing these barriers must fly continuously, must sustain effort for days. The already mentioned godwits flying for 8 days, blackpoll warblers flying for 3 days over the Atlantic, ruby-throated hummingbirds, weighing less than a nickel, flying non-stop across the Gulf of Mexico. These continuous flights are at the absolute edge of possibility, require everything to go right, require favorable winds, require accurate navigation, require bodies that function perfectly for days of continuous operation. Any failure, any problem, means death, means falling into ocean or desert, means the journey ends and the bird never arrives. Cross oceans, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, the Mediterranean Sea, the Caribbean Sea. Birds cross vast expanses of water regularly during migration. Water offers no place to land, no place to rest, no place to find food or water. Once a bird launches from shore, it commits, must reach the opposite shore or die. There is no middle ground, no partial success. Either the bird makes it or it doesn't. Crossing oceans is binary, is all or nothing, is the ultimate test of endurance and navigation. Getting lost means certain death. Running out of energy means certain death. Encountering severe weather might mean death. The ocean is unforgiving, offers no mercy. Birds that cross oceans successfully are birds that did everything right, made no significant errors, had enough endurance, had enough energy, navigated accurately, survived, crossed deserts. The Sahara Desert, the Arabian Desert, the Gobi Desert, North American deserts. Deserts present different challenges than oceans, but equally deadly challenges. No water, extreme temperatures, no food, no shelter. Birds must cross quickly, must not get lost, must maintain direction accurately. The desert is vast, is disorienting, looks the same in all directions. Landmarks are few. Navigation is difficult, especially at night, especially without moonlight. The desert is also hot, dangerously hot during day. Birds crossing deserts often fly at night to avoid heat, to conserve water, to survive the crossing. But this requires night navigation, requires flying in darkness, requires moonlight or other navigation aids. Without these, the desert swallows birds, disorients them, exhausts them, kills them, cross mountain ranges, the Himalayas. The Alps, the Andes, the Rockies. Mountains are barriers, are obstacles, require flying at high altitude, in thin air, in cold temperatures, with reduced oxygen. This is physiologically demanding. Hearts must work harder. Muscles must function with less oxygen. Birds must generate lift in thin air, must work harder for every wing beat, must expend more energy to maintain altitude. Mountains also create turbulent winds, create unpredictable air currents, create conditions that can dash birds against cliffs, can blow them off course, can exhaust them fighting constant turbulence. Crossing mountains requires finding passes, finding valleys, finding routes through rather than over. This requires detailed navigation, requires seeing terrain, requires recognizing features. Moonlight helps enormously, makes terrain visible at night, makes passes visible, makes navigation possible. This is exhausting. All of it, every aspect, the physical effort, the mental effort, the endurance required, the dangers faced, the barriers crossed, the hours and days of sustained effort. This exhausts birds completely, depletes them totally. Birds arriving at destinations after long migrations are often at the edge of survival, have burned through almost all fat reserves, have lost significant body weight, have organs that shrank during migration, have bodies that are barely functioning, need immediate rest, immediate food, immediate recovery. Some don't make it even after arriving, die from exhaustion within days of completing migration. This shows how exhausting migration is, shows how close to the edge birds are operating, shows how demanding this behavior is. This is demanding. Demands everything from birds, every adaptation, every capability, every bit of efficiency their bodies possess. Migration demands optimal physiology, demands efficient flight, demands accurate navigation, demands extraordinary endurance, demands metabolic capacity at the upper limits of possibility, demands cardiovascular function that can sustain effort for days, demands mental capacity that can maintain focus and make decisions despite exhaustion, demands stored energy sufficient to complete journeys of thousands of miles, demands everything. Birds that migrate are birds at the peak of their capabilities, operating at maximum capacity, using every adaptation evolution gave them, and even so, many fail. Many don't complete the journey. Many die trying. This shows how demanding migration is. This is at the limit of what birds can accomplish, not merely difficult, not simply challenging, but at the actual physiological limit, at the boundary of biological possibility. Birds cannot migrate farther with current biology, cannot fly faster, cannot be more efficient. Evolution has optimized everything, has pushed efficiency to theoretical maximum, has created bodies that can barely do what they need to do. This is important to understand. Birds are not operating with comfortable margins, are not completing migrations easily with energy to spare, are operating at the edge, at the limit, at the boundary of survival. This means any additional challenge might be too much. Any additional energy requirement might be impossible to meet. Any additional difficulty might push migration beyond what's biologically possible. Anything that makes this easier is valuable, has biological value, has evolutionary value, has survival value. When birds are operating at their limits, anything that reduces demands even slightly is valuable, is significant, is the difference between success and failure, between survival and death, between completing migration and perishing en route. Small advantages matter when operating at limits, matter enormously, can be the difference between viable migration route and impossible migration route, between sustainable population and declining population, between species that can exist and species that cannot. Moonlight makes migration easier. This ease is valuable, is important, is evolutionary significant, is beneficial, provides real benefits, measurable benefits, benefits in energy conservation, benefits in navigation accuracy, benefits in reduced stress, benefits in cognitive load reduction. These benefits might seem small. A few percentage points of energy saved, slightly better navigation, slightly less stress. But at the limits of biological capacity, small benefits are huge, are the difference between success and failure, are what makes migration possible versus impossible. Evolution operates on small differences, slight advantages in survival, small improvements in reproductive success. These small benefits accumulate over individuals, over generations, create significant evolutionary effects, create adaptations, create behaviors, create the patterns we see today, is advantageous, gives advantage in the struggle to survive, in the challenge to reproduce, in the competition to pass genes forward. Advantage is what evolution selects for. What natural selection operates on? Organisms with advantages survive more, reproduce more, pass genes more effectively. Advantages spread through populations, become common, become universal. Using moonlight provides advantage, real advantage, measurable advantage in migration success, in survival rates, in reproductive success. This advantage matters evolutionarily, matters enough to shape bird biology, matters enough to create instincts, matters enough to make birds dependent on lunar cycles. Moonlight makes it easier. This is the key point. This is what matters. Moonlight provides illumination during night migration. This illumination makes navigation easier, makes flight safer, makes energy expenditure more efficient, makes cognitive demands lower, makes stress less, makes endurance requirements slightly less extreme. All of these effects combine, all of these add up, all of these contribute to making migration easier, more survivable, more likely to succeed. Moonlight doesn't make migration easy. Migration is still incredibly demanding, still at the limits of possibility. But moonlight makes it slightly less impossible, slightly more survivable. This slight difference matters enormously at population level, matters evolutionarily, matters enough to shape how birds migrate, reduces stress. Migration is stressful, extremely stressful. Physiological stress from sustained effort, psychological stress from danger and uncertainty, stress from navigation demands, stress from not knowing if you'll make it. Stress has costs, real biological costs. Stress hormones like cortisol damage tissues, impair immune function, increase energy expenditure, reduce recovery capacity. Chronic stress during migration compounds. Exhaustion makes recovery harder, increases mortality even after successful migration. Anything that reduces stress is beneficial. Moonlight reduces stress by providing visibility, by making navigation more certain, by making the environment more predictable, by reducing the fear and uncertainty of flying blind in darkness. This stress reduction has measurable benefits, improves survival, improves recovery, improves subsequent breeding success, reduces uncertainty. Uncertainty is cognitively expensive, requires constant monitoring, constant evaluation, constant decision-making under ambiguity. Am I on course? Am I going the right direction? Am I over water or land? How far have I traveled? When should I descend? All of these questions create uncertainty during night migration without visibility. This uncertainty requires attention, requires cognitive resources, requires energy. The brain uses significant energy, especially when processing uncertainty and making decisions with incomplete information. Moonlight reduces uncertainty by providing information, by allowing birds to see, to recognize features, to confirm their position, to verify their heading. This confirmation reduces cognitive demands, frees mental resources, allows the bird to focus on flight rather than constant anxious evaluation of uncertain position, reduces the cognitive load of navigation. Navigation is mentally demanding, requires processing multiple information streams simultaneously: magnetic field information, star positions, landmarks, wind direction, internal clock, memory of route. All of this must be integrated, must be processed, must inform continuous adjustments to heading. This cognitive processing uses energy, uses brain resources, uses attention. The cognitive load during navigation is substantial, is constant throughout migration, is exhausting over hours and days. Moonlight reduces this load by providing visual information. Visual navigation is easier than navigation by magnetic sense or stars alone. Seeing landmarks is more certain than estimating position from abstract cues. Visual processing is faster and more reliable than computational navigation. Moonlight makes navigation more visual, more direct, more intuitive, less cognitively demanding. This reduction in cognitive load conserves energy, conserves mental resources, makes sustained navigation over long periods more feasible. Birds can see where they're going. This seems simple, seems obvious, but it's profound. Vision provides rich information, provides detail, provides confirmation. During moonlit nights, birds can see terrain below, can see coastlines, can see rivers, can see mountains, can see forests and fields and lakes, can see the landscape. This visual information is invaluable for navigation, confirms position, verifies heading, provides landmarks to aim for, provides warnings of obstacles, provides continuous feedback that the bird is on course, going the right direction, making progress. This visual feedback is reassuring, is calming, reduces stress and uncertainty, makes navigation more confident, more accurate, more efficient, can recognize landmarks. Coastlines are obvious landmarks, sharp boundaries between dark land and lighter water. Easy to follow, easy to use for navigation. Following a coastline at night requires seeing it. Moonlight makes coastlines visible, makes them usable for navigation. Rivers are linear landmarks, guide birds along correct directions, provide routes through unfamiliar terrain, visible in moonlight as darker lines through lighter land. Mountain ranges are massive landmarks, visible even at night when moonlit, provide orientation over vast distances. Valleys through mountains become visible routes, passes become identifiable. Lakes are distinctive landmarks, reflect moonlight brightly, stand out as light patches in darker land, easy to recognize, easy to use as waypoints. All of these landmarks exist during day, but without moonlight, they disappear at night, become invisible, become useless. Moonlight makes them visible again, makes them usable at night, makes night navigation similar to day navigation, can maintain orientation more easily. Orientation is the constant challenge, maintaining correct heading despite wind, despite fatigue, despite hours of flight. Orientation requires reference points, requires knowing which direction you're facing. During moonlit nights, terrain provides reference. The horizon provides reference. The direction of rivers or coastlines provides reference. Wind patterns relative to visible terrain provide reference. All of this makes maintaining orientation easier. requires less cognitive effort, requires less estimation and calculation, allows more direct, intuitive navigation based on vision rather than abstract computation. This ease accumulates over hours, over the entire night's migration, makes sustained accurate navigation more achievable, makes arriving at intended destination more likely. This conserves energy. This is the bottom line. This is what ultimately matters. Energy is everything in migration. Birds have finite energy, stored as fat. This energy must power the entire journey, must be sufficient to reach destination. Any energy saved is energy available later, energy that might make the difference between reaching destination and falling short. Energy conservation is survival. Moonlight conserves energy by reducing cognitive load, by making navigation more efficient, by reducing stress responses that waste energy, by making flight more confident and less erratic, by reducing unnecessary movements and corrections. All of these small savings add up, over hours of flight, over thousands of miles. The cumulative energy savings from using moonlight might be the difference between successful migration and fatal exhaustion. Conserves mental resources. The brain is expensive, uses significant energy, especially when working hard, when processing information, when making decisions, when dealing with stress and uncertainty. During migration, cognitive demands are high. Navigation, vigilance, decision-making. All of this uses mental resources, uses energy, depletes the bird over time. Moonlight conserves mental resources by making navigation easier, by reducing uncertainty, by providing clear visual information rather than requiring complex computation. Mental resources conserved are resources available for other functions, for monitoring body condition, for making strategic decisions about when to rest, for maintaining alertness to dangers, for having reserves later in migration when exhaustion is greatest. Conserving mental resources matters for survival, matters for success, makes the entire journey easier to accomplish. Not just one night, not just one flight, but the entire migration, multiple flights, multiple nights, accumulated over the full journey. Each moonlit night makes that night's flight easier. Over multiple nights, this accumulates, this compounds, makes the entire migration more achievable, makes reaching destination more likely, makes arriving with sufficient reserves more likely, makes surviving to breed more likely. The entire journey becomes easier, more survivable, more likely to succeed. This is moonlight's contribution. This is the value of lunar cycles. This is why birds evolved to use moonlight. To time migration to it, to depend on it, makes it possible. In some cases, moonlight doesn't just help, doesn't just provide minor benefits, doesn't just make migration somewhat easier or more efficient, but actually makes migration possible in the first place, makes certain routes viable that would be unviable without moonlight, makes certain strategies work that wouldn't work in darkness, makes survival rates high enough for migration to be evolutionarily sustainable. Without moonlight, some migration simply couldn't exist, couldn't work, couldn't support populations. But with moonlight, these migrations become possible, become achievable, become sustainable. This is profound. This is the difference between migration existing or not existing, between species occupying certain ranges or not. Between life histories being possible or impossible doesn't just help. This is important distinction. Moonlight isn't just nice to have, isn't just beneficial, isn't just something that makes things slightly better. For some migrations, moonlight is essential, is necessary, is required. These migrations cannot work without it, cannot achieve sufficient success rates without it. The mortality would be too high. The failure rate would be too great. The energy costs would be too extreme. These migrations need moonlight, depend on it, cannot exist without it. This dependency is profound, is fundamental, shows how deeply connected some species are to lunar cycles, how essential the moon is to their life history, how much they depend on this ancient orbital companion. Doesn't just improve things, doesn't just incrementally make migration better, but fundamentally makes certain patterns possible, changes what's viable, changes what birds can accomplish, changes what routes can be flown, changes what distances can be covered at night, changes everything. Some migration strategies only work with moonlight, only achieve acceptable survival rates when birds can see, when navigation is accurate, when energy expenditure is manageable. Without moonlight, these strategies fail, have too many birds getting lost, too many exhausting themselves, too many dying. With moonlight, these strategies work, achieve survival rates high enough to sustain populations, high enough to be evolutionarily viable. Moonlight doesn't improve these strategies. Moonlight enables them, makes them possible, makes them exist, but actually makes migration possible, makes it real, makes it achievable, makes it something birds can do successfully, often enough to pass genes, often enough to maintain populations, often enough to persist over evolutionary time. This is the test. Can enough birds complete the migration successfully? Can populations sustain themselves? Can the behavior persist? For some migrations, the answer without moonlight would be no. Mortality would be too high. Failure rates would be unsustainable. Populations would decline, eventually disappear. The migration route would cease to exist. But with moonlight, the answer becomes yes. Enough birds succeed. Survival rates are high enough. Populations sustain themselves. The migration persists. Moonlight is the factor, is the difference, is what makes it possible, makes it feasible, turns theoretical possibility into practical reality. Theoretically, birds could fly at night over oceans, have sufficient range, have navigation abilities, but practically, without visibility, success rates might be too low. Too many would get lost. Too many would exhaust themselves flying inefficient paths. Too many would fail to find land on the far side. The route would be theoretically possible, but practically unfeasible. Moonlight changes this calculation, makes the route feasible, makes success rates acceptable, makes the route viable, makes it something enough birds can accomplish successfully. This feasibility is crucial, is the difference between routes existing or not, between populations connecting distant regions or being isolated, makes it something birds can accomplish, not just something that could theoretically happen. Not just something individual exceptional birds might do, but something regular birds accomplish regularly, something populations depend on, something that happens reliably year after year, something sustainable, something that works as evolutionary strategy. Moonlight makes certain migrations something birds actually do successfully, something that works, something that sustains species. Without moonlight, these migrations might occasionally be accomplished by exceptional individuals, but couldn't support populations, couldn't work as regular strategy, couldn't persist. Moonlight makes them work reliably, makes them achievable by regular birds, makes them sustainable strategies, Some migration routes require night flying, absolutely require it. Cannot be done during day for various reasons, temperature reasons. Some routes cross hot deserts where day temperatures would kill birds. These birds must fly at night when temperatures are tolerable, when water loss is manageable, when survival is possible. Predation reasons. Some migration routes pass through areas with heavy day predator presence. Raptors, hawks, falcons. Birds migrating through these areas during day face severe predation. Must migrate at night when aerial predators are inactive, when risk is reduced. Wind reasons. Some areas have prevailing winds that favor night flight. Winds at night blow in the right direction. Winds during day blow wrong direction or are too turbulent. Distance reasons. Some migrations are so long they cannot be completed in single day. Must continue through night. Must fly continuously day and night. All of these routes require night flying, not prefer it. Require it, cannot work otherwise. Require crossing large bodies of water. Ocean crossings, major water crossings that take many hours. These crossings cannot be interrupted. Once started, must be completed. Birds cannot land on water, cannot rest on water, must fly continuously until reaching land. If the crossing takes longer than daylight hours, birds must fly through night, must navigate in darkness, must maintain heading over featureless ocean. This is extremely difficult without moonlight, nearly impossible. Ocean at night in darkness looks the same in all directions, provides no landmarks, no reference points, no way to judge progress or verify heading. Waves might provide some information, but are hard to see in darkness. Wind provides cues, but can be unreliable. Without moonlight, ocean crossing at night becomes desperate navigation by minimal cues. With moonlight, birds can see horizon, can see wave direction, can see moonlight on water, can maintain orientation, can navigate more confidently, can complete crossing successfully. Moonlight makes ocean night crossings possible, require traveling when predators are less active. Nocturnal migration evolved partly to avoid predators. Diurnal raptors are dangerous to small birds. Hawks hunt during day. Falcons hunt during day. Flying during day means running constant gauntlet of predators, means high mortality risk, means significant losses to predation. Many small birds evolved nocturnal migration to avoid this, to fly when raptors sleep, when skies are safer, when survival rates are higher. This strategy works, dramatically reduces predation, makes migration more survivable, but requires night flying, requires navigating in darkness, requires strategies for night navigation. Moonlight becomes crucial, provides the visibility needed for navigation while maintaining the temporal separation from predators, allows birds to migrate safely at night with sufficient visibility to navigate successfully. These migrations might be impossible without moonlight. This is not hyperbole, not exaggeration. Some of these migrations genuinely might not work without moonlight. The combination of requiring night flight and requiring accurate navigation creates challenge that might be unsurmountable without visibility. Success rates might drop below sustainable levels. Populations might not be able to maintain themselves. Migration routes might fail. Species might not be able to connect their breeding and wintering ranges without moonlight. Some species might have very different distributions. Very different life histories might not exist in current forms. This is how important moonlight is, how essential it is, how much it matters for some species. Might be too dangerous. Without moonlight, night migration faces extreme dangers, Collision danger increases dramatically. Birds cannot see obstacles, cannot see buildings, cannot see towers, cannot see power lines, cannot see mountains, cannot see cliffs, cannot see anything until impact. Collision mortality would be extreme, would devastate populations. Navigation danger increases. Birds get lost more easily, cannot verify heading, cannot recognize when off course until too late. Getting lost over ocean or desert means death. Lost birds exhaust themselves, run out of energy, never reach destination. Exhaustion danger increases. Without landmarks, birds fly inefficient paths, make unnecessary corrections, waste energy on uncertainty and stress, arrive at destinations more depleted, have less margin for survival. All of these dangers would make night migration prohibitively dangerous without moonlight. Might be too difficult. Even if not immediately fatal, navigation without moonlight might be too cognitively demanding, too stressful, too energy expensive. The constant uncertainty, the continuous estimation, the accumulated stress, the cognitive load, all of this might make night migration too difficult to sustain. Birds might arrive so depleted they cannot recover, cannot feed effectively, cannot breed successfully. Reproductive success might drop below replacement level. Populations might decline despite birds surviving migration itself. The difficulty might manifest not as immediate mortality, but as reduced fitness, reduced breeding success, accumulated costs that make the strategy unsustainable. Moonlight reduces difficulty enough, makes challenges manageable enough, makes the strategy sustainable. But moonlight makes them possible, changes everything, transforms impossible into possible, transforms too dangerous into acceptably risky, transforms too difficult into challengingly difficult but achievable. Moonlight is the enabling factor, the permissive condition, the requirement that allows everything else to work. Moonlight makes night migration over oceans possible, makes night navigation accurate enough, makes collision avoidance possible, makes energy expenditure manageable, makes stress tolerable, makes the entire strategy viable. Without moonlight, many migration patterns we observe couldn't exist. With moonlight, they work, they succeed, they persist. This is moonlight's gift. This is the moon's contribution. This is why birds evolved to depend on lunar cycles, makes them achievable, makes them things birds actually do successfully, not occasionally, not rarely, but regularly, reliably, year after year, generation after generation, makes them repeatable strategies, sustainable strategies, evolutionary strategies that work, that support populations, that allow species to thrive. Achievability is crucial, is the difference between theoretical possibility and practical reality, between what could happen and what does happen, between routes that might work occasionally and routes that work consistently. Moonlight makes migration routes achievable, makes them work reliably, makes them sustainable, makes them survivable. Survival is ultimate test, ultimate requirement. Behaviors that kill too many individuals don't persist. Routes with too high mortality don't stay used. Strategies that devastate populations aren't evolutionarily viable. Moonlight makes migration survivable, keeps mortality within acceptable ranges, allows enough birds to complete journeys successfully, allows populations to sustain themselves, allows genes to pass forward, allows behaviors to persist. Survivability is everything. Moonlight provides this, makes migration survivable enough to work, survivable enough to persist, survivable enough to be part of how birds live. This is the moon's gift to birds, this contribution, this enabling, this making possible of incredible journeys. The moon doesn't know it helps birds, has no awareness, no intention, but simply by existing, simply by reflecting sunlight, simply by following ancient orbital path, the moon helps, enables, makes possible. This is beautiful, is profound, shows interconnectedness of cosmos and life, shows how unconscious moon enables conscious birds, shows how dead rock makes possible living journeys, shows the profound connections between everything. The moon's contribution to avian life, to bird evolution, to bird ecology, to bird diversity, to bird behavior. The moon shaped bird evolution, shaped what migrations are possible, shaped which routes work, shaped what strategies succeed, shaped how populations distribute themselves across the planet, shaped connections between ecosystems. The moon is part of bird biology, part of bird ecology, part of why birds are what they are. This contribution is invisible, is unappreciated, is unknown to most people, but it's real, it's important, it's fundamental. The moon enabling these incredible journeys across the globe, journeys that span continents, journeys that cross oceans, journeys that connect Arctic to tropics, journeys that connect hemispheres. These journeys are spectacular, are remarkable, are among nature's greatest phenomena, and they're enabled by the moon, by moonlight, by the steady, predictable provision of light that makes night navigation possible, that makes night flying safe enough, that makes incredible distances achievable. The moon makes these journeys possible. The moon enables this wonder. The moon contributes to this spectacular aspect of life on Earth. Birds have evolved to use this, have adapted to depend on moonlight, have shaped their biology around lunar cycles, have built moonlight use into their instincts, into their genes, into their fundamental nature. This use is not accidental, not opportunistic, not learned. This is evolution. This is deep adaptation. This is birds being profoundly shaped by the moon's presence, being connected to lunar cycles at fundamental biological level. This connection was forged over millions of years, was built by natural selection, was created by moonlight, affecting which birds survived, which bred, which passed genes forward. This process created modern birds, created birds that instinctively use moonlight, that instinctively depend on it, that instinctively coordinate with lunar cycles. This is not learned behavior. This is crucial to understand. Baby birds don't learn to use moonlight, don't learn to time migration to lunar phases, don't learn from parents or from experience. They know instinctively, are born knowing, have knowledge built into their genes. This knowledge is genetic, is heritable, is passed through DNA from parent to offspring. This means the connection to moonlight is deep, is ancient, is fundamental to what birds are, is not cultural, not flexible, not changeable within a generation, but fixed, built in, part of their biological programming at deepest level. Not cultural transmission. Culture would mean learned behavior, behavior passed from adults to young through teaching or observation, behavior that can change within single generation, behavior that can vary between populations. Moonlight used by migrating birds is not like this, is not cultural, is not learned, is uniform across populations, is consistent across species, is clearly genetic rather than cultural, appears even in hand-raised birds that never saw adults, appears even in birds migrating for first time. This universality, this independence from learning, this appearance in naive birds, all of this proves the behavior is genetic, is instinctive, is hardwired, is evolutionary rather than cultural. Not something each bird figures out. Individual birds don't discover that moonlight helps, don't experiment and learn, don't reason their way to using lunar cycles. They simply do it, simply use moonlight automatically. Simply time behavior to lunar phases without thinking, without deciding, without learning. This automaticity proves the behavior is instinctive, is programmed, is genetic. Birds don't have to figure out moonlight helps, don't have to learn it, don't have to discover it. They're born knowing, born with instincts that make them wait for appropriate moon phases, born with tendencies to migrate when moonlight is available, born with biology that connects them to lunar cycles at level below consciousness, below learning, at level of instinct. This is evolution. This is the mechanism. This is how these instincts arose, through natural selection operating over vast time, through birds that used moonlight surviving better, reproducing more, passing genes more effectively, through these genes spreading, becoming common, eventually becoming universal, through the slow, patient process of evolution shaping biology, shaping instincts, shaping birds to fit their environment. Environment that includes the moon, that includes moonlight, that includes predictable lunar cycles. Evolution shaped birds to use all of this, to depend on all of this, to be connected to all of this. This is genetic. This is in the DNA, in the genes, in the biological instructions that build a bird. Genes that create sensitivity to moonlight. Genes that create circulunar rhythms. Genes that make birds wait for appropriate moon phases before migrating. Genes that create visual systems optimized for moonlight navigation. Genes that coordinate all aspects of behavior with lunar cycles. These genes exist, were selected for, spread through populations, became universal. Now all birds carry them. All birds have genetic programming that connects them to moon. That makes them dependent on lunar cycles. That makes moonlight fundamental to their biology. This is built into bird biology over millions of years. This is ancient adaptation. This goes back millions of years. Goes back to early evolution of bird migration. Migration evolved in a world with moon, in a world with moonlight, in a world with lunar cycles. These factors were always present, always affecting which migrations worked, always influencing which birds survived. Over millions of years, this selection shaped bird biology, built moonlight use into their instincts, built lunar sensitivity into their sensory systems, built circulunar rhythms into their physiology, made the moon part of bird biology at fundamental level, made the connection ancient, deep, unbreakable, part of what birds are. Birds that used moonlight successfully survived better. This is the key. This is the mechanism of natural selection. Some birds, through random genetic variation, were more sensitive to moonlight, were more likely to migrate during appropriate moon phases, were better at using moonlight for navigation. These birds had advantage, small advantage, but real advantage. They survived migration more often than birds without these traits. This differential survival is natural selection, is evolution in action, is how adaptations arise. Over many generations, these advantageous traits spread, became more common, eventually became universal. This process created modern birds, created birds that all use moonlight, all time migration to lunar cycles. All have instincts connecting them to the moon, migrated more successfully, got to destinations more often, arrived in better condition, navigated more accurately, expended energy more efficiently, experienced less stress. These are the proximate benefits, the immediate advantages. Birds using moonlight completed migrations at higher rates, lost fewer individuals to getting lost fewer to exhaustion, lost fewer to collisions. This higher success rate meant more individuals surviving to breeding grounds, more individuals arriving in condition to breed successfully, more individuals contributing to next generation. This success difference drove evolution, drove selection for moonlight use, drove the development of instincts and behaviors we see today, bred more successfully, survived to breed, arrived with sufficient energy reserves, were healthy enough to compete for territories, strong enough to attract mates, fit enough to build nests and raise young. Migration success translates to breeding success. Birds that completed migration successfully bred successfully, produced offspring, passed genes. Birds that failed migration never bred, never passed genes. This is ultimate test. This is what evolution selects for. Not survival for its own sake, but survival that leads to reproduction, to passing genes, to continuation. Birds using moonlight survived and bred more successfully. This success caused their genes to spread, caused traits for moonlight use to become common, eventually universal. Passed their genes to more offspring. More offspring means more copies of genes in next generation, means genes spread faster, means advantageous traits become common faster. Birds using moonlight successfully had more offspring. These offspring inherited genes for moonlight sensitivity, for lunar timing, for moonlight navigation abilities. These offspring also used moonlight successfully, also had more offspring. Generation after generation this continued. Genes for moonlight use spreading, becoming more and more common, until every bird in the population carried them, until moonlight use became universal, became instinctive, became part of what it means to be a bird of that species. Over countless generations, this created birds that instinctively use moonlight. The process took time, took many bird generations. It took thousands of years, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, but gradually, generation by generation, birds became more connected to moonlight, more sensitive to lunar cycles, more dependent on the moon. Genes for moonlight use accumulated. Instincts deepened. Biology became shaped around lunar patterns, eventually created birds that cannot imagine not using moonlight, that instinctively waits for proper moon phases, that automatically uses moonlight when available, that is biologically connected to the moon at its deepest level, that instinctively time migrates to lunar cycles without thinking, without deciding, without learning, just instinctively knowing when to depart, when the moon phase is right, when moonlight will be available. This timing is built in, is genetic, is instinctive. Young birds on first migration know to wait, know to time departure to appropriate moon phase. Know this without being taught. Know this without reasoning. Know this because evolution built this knowledge into their genes, built this timing into their instincts, made lunar cycles part of their biological programming. This is how deeply moon affects birds, affects them at level of instinct, at level of genetic programming, at level of what they are, that instinctively take advantage of what the moon provides. Use the light automatically. Use the cycles naturally. Use the patterns instinctively. All of this happens below conscious level, below decision-making, at level of instinct, at level of automatic behavior, at level of genetic programming expressing itself. Birds take advantage of moonlight the way they take advantage of wings. Automatically, naturally, instinctively, because evolution built this into them, made this part of them, made this what they are. The moon and birds connected, profoundly connected, connected by millions of years of evolution. Connected at level of genes, connected at level of instinct, connected forever. This is evolution in action. This is what evolution does. This is the power and beauty of natural selection, creates complex adaptations through simple mechanisms, through differential survival and reproduction, through advantageous trait spreading, through populations being shaped by their environment that includes the moon. Evolution connected birds to the moon, made them dependent on the moon, made them part of lunar rhythms, made them creatures whose biology is woven with moonlight. This is evolution's power. This is evolution's elegance. This is how life adapts, how life connects to its environment, how life becomes part of larger patterns, cosmic patterns, patterns that include the ancient orbital dance between Earth and Moon. This is natural selection, the mechanism, the process, the engine that drives evolution. Some survive, some don't. Those that survive pass genes. Those that don't, don't. Over time, this simple difference shapes populations, shapes species, creates adaptations, creates instincts, creates connections between organisms and environment. Natural selection connected birds to moon, did so through simple mechanism repeated countless times. Birds that used moonlight survived. Birds that didn't survive as well. This difference, small but consistent, shaped populations, eventually created birds for whom moonlight use is instinctive, universal, fundamental. This is life adapting to use available resources. This is what life does. This is life's fundamental strategy. Use what's available. Adapt to what's present. Take advantage of opportunities. The moon is available. Moonlight is available. Lunar cycles are available, have been available for billions of years. Life adapted. Birds adapted. Evolved to use these resources. Evolved to depend on them. Evolved to make them fundamental to migration strategies. This is life being opportunistic, being flexible, being able to use everything the environment provides, including the moon, including moonlight, including ancient rhythms of lunar cycles, available light, light that's there, light that's reliable, light that comes and goes on a predictable schedule. This light is a resource, as real as food or water or nesting sites. Birds evolved to use this resource, to depend on it, to make it part of their biology. This is efficient. This is a smart evolutionary strategy. Use what's available. Don't waste opportunities. Moonlight is available. Birds use it, have been using it for millions of years, will continue using it for millions more. Available lunar cycles, predictable rhythm, reliable pattern, repeating monthly, repeating forever. This predictability is valuable, is something life can depend on, can coordinate with, can build strategies around. Birds did this, evolved to synchronize with lunar cycles, evolved to time migration to moon phases, evolved to make lunar rhythms part of their life cycles, part of their annual patterns, part of their biology. This synchronization is deep, is ancient, is part of what makes birds what they are, connected to Earth, connected to Moon, connected to the ancient cosmic rhythms that shape our world, to take advantage of moonlight, to use this resource, to exploit this opportunity. Evolution is about using what's available, about adapting to the environment, about taking advantage of opportunities, The moon provides light, provides cycles, provides predictable patterns. Birds evolved to use all of this, to take advantage of moonlight for navigation, to use lunar cycles for timing, to exploit the moon's presence for survival advantage. This is beautiful. This is elegant. This is the interconnectedness of life and cosmos, birds and moon, creatures of earth and companion of earth, connected, interacting, affecting each other across the emptiness of space, to time their journeys to the moon, to synchronize with lunar cycles, to plan migrations around moon phases. This synchronization is remarkable, is precise, is evidence of how important the moon is to these birds. They don't just use moonlight opportunistically, don't just happen to migrate when the moon is bright. They wait for it, time their departure to it, coordinate their journey with it. This requires internal clocks, requires ability to sense lunar cycles, requires biological mechanisms that track the moon's phases. Birds have evolved these mechanisms, have developed these abilities, have created biological systems that connect them to the moon. The moon affects their behavior, changes what they do, changes when they migrate, changes how they migrate. The moon's cycles become part of the bird's behavioral patterns, part of their annual rhythms, part of their life cycle. Birds don't just respond to seasons, don't just respond to temperature or day length. They also respond to the moon. Watch the moon. Wait for the moon. Let the moon influence their decisions, their timing, their behavior. This is the moon reaching into their lives, touching their biology, affecting their choices. This is connection between earth and moon made manifest in bird behavior, affects their migration, determines when migration happens, determines how successful migration is, determines whether birds reach their destination safely. The moon doesn't just provide light, doesn't just provide navigation aid. The moon shapes the entire migration, shapes its timing, shapes its success, shapes whether birds survive to breed another year. This is profound influence. This is the moon mattering in direct, measurable ways. This is the moon affecting whether individual birds live or die, whether they reproduce or not, whether their genes continue or not, affects their survival. Ultimately, this is what matters: survival, reproduction, continuation of the species. The moon affects all of this. Birds that use moonlight will survive better, migrate more successfully, reach breeding grounds, reproduce, pass genes to offspring. Birds that don't use moonlight will struggle, face more dangers, have lower survival rates, reproduce less successfully. Over time, over generations, this shapes populations, shapes species, creates birds that are adapted to use the moon, that are connected to the moon, that depend on the moon. The moon becomes part of their survival strategy, part of their evolutionary adaptation, part of what makes them successful as species. Even some mammals show lunar rhythms. This is not just birds, not just creatures of the sky. Even mammals, creatures that walk and run and climb, show rhythms connected to the moon, show behaviors that vary with moon phases, show patterns that demonstrate they're aware of the moon, that they respond to the moon, that the moon affects them. This is remarkable, is evidence that the moon's influence extends throughout the animal kingdom, throughout different types of creatures, throughout ecosystems. The moon affects not just tides, not just Earth's stability, but life itself, behavior, survival strategies, the daily and monthly rhythms of creatures. Some bats time their activity to moon phases. Bats are nocturnal, are active at night, hunt at night, live their lives in darkness. You might think the moon wouldn't matter to them. wouldn't affect them, wouldn't influence their behavior, but it does. Bats are highly sensitive to light levels, are adapted to darkness, use echolocation to navigate and hunt, but they're also visible in moonlight, are vulnerable in moonlight, are at risk during bright moon phases. So bats have evolved strategies, have developed behaviors, have adapted their activity patterns to account for the moon, to reduce risks associated with moonlight, to survive in a world where the moon changes night, avoid hunting during full moons when their silhouettes are visible to predators. This is fascinating, is logical, is evidence of how the moon creates evolutionary pressure. During full moon, night is bright, relatively bright, bright enough that flying bats create visible silhouettes against the sky. These silhouettes can be seen by predators, by owls, by hawks, by other birds of prey that hunt bats. This makes hunting during full moon dangerous, risky, more likely to result in being preyed upon. So bats have evolved to avoid this. To reduce activity during full moons, to hunt less, to fly less, to stay in roosts more. This reduces visibility, reduces risk, increases survival. Hunt more during new moons when darkness provides cover. This is the opposite strategy. During new moon, night is dark, truly dark, no moonlight, just starlight, just darkness. In this darkness, bats are less visible, are harder to see, are safer from predators. So bats increase activity during new moons, hunt more, fly more, take more risks. The darkness provides cover, provides protection, provides safety. Bats have evolved to take advantage of this, to hunt more aggressively when protected by darkness, to be more active when the moon is absent. This is lunar rhythm. This is behavior shaped by moon phases. This is the moon affecting when bats eat, when they're active, how they survive. The moon affects their behavior, changes what they do, changes when they hunt, changes how active they are. The moon becomes a factor in bat behavior, a variable they respond to, a cycle they're attuned to. Bats don't just respond to whether it's night or day, they respond to what kind of night. Bright night or dark night, full moon night or new moon night. This additional layer of complexity in their behavior is caused by the moon, is shaped by the moon. Is the moon reaching into bat biology, into bat evolution, into bat survival strategies, affects their hunting, determines when hunting is safe, when hunting is productive, when hunting should be maximized. Bats need to eat, need to hunt insects, need to consume food to survive, but they also need to avoid being eaten, need to avoid predators, need to survive to hunt another night. The moon affects this balance. During full moon, hunting is dangerous. Bats must choose between feeding and safety. Many choose safety, reduce hunting, accept less food to avoid greater risk. During new moon, hunting is safer. Bats can hunt more, can take more risks, can feed more aggressively. The moon shapes this pattern, creates this rhythm, affects how much bats eat, how successful they are, how well they survive, affects their survival. Again, ultimately, this is what matters. Do bats survive? Do they reproduce? Do they pass genes to offspring? The moon affects all of this. Bats that respond appropriately to moon phases survive better, avoid predators more successfully, live longer, reproduce more, pass their genes forward. Bats that don't respond appropriately take more risks during full moons, get eaten more often, survive less, reproduce less. Over generations, this shapes bat populations, shapes bat behavior, creates bats that are sensitive to moon phases, that change behavior based on the moon, that are connected to lunar cycles. The moon becomes part of their biology, part of their survival strategy, part of their evolution. Some predators hunt more successfully during full moons when they can see better. This is the other side, the flip side, the predator perspective. For some predators, especially visual predators, the full moon is advantage, is opportunity, is a time when hunting becomes easier, when prey becomes more visible, when success rates increase. Owls can see better during full moon, can spot prey more easily, can hunt more successfully. Some cats, some carnivores, some predators that rely on vision, all benefit from moonlight. All hunt more successfully when the moon is bright. This creates pressure, creates risk for prey, creates the reason why some prey animals change their behavior during full moons. Some prey hide more during full moons when they're more visible. This is the prey response, the defensive strategy, the survival adaptation. If predators hunt more successfully during full moons, then prey must adapt, must change behavior, must reduce visibility, must reduce activity, must hide more, stay in burrows more, avoid open areas more, move less, feed less, accept reduced feeding to avoid increased predation risk. This is cost of survival. This is the trade-off prey animals make. Less food, but better chance of surviving. Less activity, but lower risk of being eaten. The moon forces this trade-off, creates this pressure, shapes this behavior. The moon shapes behavior throughout ecosystems, not just birds, not just bats, not just individual species, but throughout entire ecosystems, throughout food webs, throughout predator-prey relationships. The moon affects when animals are active, how active they are, where they go, what they do. This cascades through ecosystems, affects interactions between species, affects who eats whom, affects population dynamics, affects community structure. The moon, 240,000 miles away, reaches into forests and grasslands and deserts, reaches into predator-prey relationships, reaches into the daily lives of countless species, shapes behavior, shapes ecology, shapes life on Earth, shapes interactions between predators and prey, between competitors, between species sharing ecosystems. The moon creates temporal niches, creates times when some species are active and others are not, creates times when risk is high and times when risk is low. This temporal structure shapes how species interact, when they encounter each other, when they compete, when they avoid each other. The moon becomes a factor in these interactions, becomes part of the context in which interactions occur, becomes part of the ecological stage on which the drama of life plays out, shapes life. Ultimately, the moon shapes life itself, shapes behavior, shapes evolution, shapes survival strategies, shapes which genes continue and which don't. The moon's influence is not trivial, not minor, not something that can be ignored. The moon is part of the environment, part of the context in which life exists, part of the selective pressures that shape evolution. Life on Earth evolved with the moon, evolved under the moon's influence, evolved responding to the moon's cycles. The moon is part of life's history, part of life's present, part of what makes Earth's ecosystems what they are. Humans are affected too. We are not separate, not immune, not beyond the moon's influence. We are animals, are mammals, are creatures of Earth. We evolved under the same moon, evolved responding to the same lunar cycles, evolved in environments where the moon mattered, where moonlight meant visibility, where moon phases affected safety, where lunar cycles structured time. This evolution might have left marks, might have created rhythms, might have shaped biology in ways that persist even today, even in modern world, even with electric lights and cities that never go dark. We might still respond to the moon, might still be affected by lunar cycles, might still carry ancient connections to this ancient companion. Human reproduction shows weak correlations with lunar cycles. This is controversial, is debated, is not as clear as in many animals, but some studies show patterns, show slight increases in births during certain moon phases, show weak but detectable correlations between lunar cycles and conception rates. These effects are small, are not strong enough to predict individual outcomes, are not reliable enough to be useful, but they exist. They suggest some connection, some residual influence, some echo of ancient rhythms that might once have been stronger, might once have mattered more, might once have structured human reproduction more clearly. Human sleep is affected by moon phases. This is more clear, more reliably documented, more consistently observed. Some studies show people sleep less during full moons, not dramatically less, not hugely less, but measurably less, 10 to 20 minutes less. This is small, but it's real. It's consistent across studies. It's observed in laboratory settings and in natural settings. It appears to be real effect, real influence, real connection between moon phase and human sleep. Sleep less deeply. Not just less total sleep, but less deep sleep, less slow-wave sleep, less of the most restorative sleep stages. People's sleep is lighter during full moons. They wake more easily. They rouse more frequently. They don't sleep as soundly. This might not be noticeable to individuals, might not feel significant, but it shows up in measurements, in brain waves, in sleep studies, in objective assessments of sleep quality. The full moon affects how deeply humans sleep, how restorative their sleep is, how well they rest. Take longer to fall asleep. Sleep latency increases during full moons. The time from lying down to actually falling asleep increases. Takes a few minutes longer. This is frustrating, is unpleasant, is something many people experience but might not connect to the moon, might not realize is lunar cycle, might attribute to other causes, but studies show it's connected, show it varies with moon phase, show it's more pronounced during full moons. The bright moon makes falling asleep harder, makes sleep onset more difficult, makes it take longer to transition from wakefulness to sleep. This might be ancient adaptation. This is speculation, is hypothesis, is possible explanation, but it makes sense, makes evolutionary sense, makes adaptive sense. Ancestral humans lived outdoors, lived without walls or locked doors or security, lived exposed to environment, lived vulnerable to predators, nocturnal predators, predators that could see at night, that hunted at night, that were dangerous at night. This was constant threat, constant risk, constant evolutionary pressure. Ancestral humans might have slept lighter during full moons when nocturnal predators could see better. This makes adaptive sense. During full moon, predators can see, can hunt more effectively, can spot prey more easily. For vulnerable sleeping humans, this increased risk, increased danger, increased the importance of vigilance, of light sleep, of being able to wake quickly if threatened. Humans who slept lighter during full moons might have survived better, might have awakened when predators approached, might have escaped or defended themselves, might have survived to reproduce, might have passed genes that created this pattern, this sensitivity to moonlight, this tendency to sleep lighter during full moons when visibility was higher. During full moon, everyone could see better. Predators could see prey, but also humans could see predators, could see threats, could see danger approaching. This visibility was double-edged, made humans more visible to threats, but also made threats more visible to humans. Light sleep during full moons might have allowed humans to take advantage of this visibility, to wake if something approached, to see the threat in moonlight, to respond, to escape, to survive. This would create evolutionary pressure for lighter sleep during full moons, for sensitivity to moonlight, for altered sleep patterns when the moon is bright, when danger was greater, because visibility was higher, because predators could hunt more effectively, because risk of predation increased. Full moons represented increased danger for ancestral humans, increased vulnerability, increased threat. Sleeping deeply during full moons was more dangerous, was more likely to result in death, was selected against by evolution. Sleeping lightly, being more vigilant, being easier to wake, all of these were advantageous. Increased survival, increased the chance of living long enough to reproduce, increased the chance of passing genes to offspring. Over many generations, this might have created biological rhythms, created sensitivity to moonlight, created the pattern we still see today. This rhythm might persist in us, might still affect us. Even though we don't face those dangers anymore, even though we sleep indoors, even though we have locks and walls and security, even though nocturnal predators are not threat to modern humans. The biology might persist, the rhythms might continue, the sensitivity to moonlight might remain. This is how evolution works, creates adaptations that persist long after the original pressure is gone, creates biological patterns that continue because they're built into our genes, built into our biology, built into our brains and hormones and sleep-wake systems, might still affect us. We might not know why, might not connect our sleep difficulty to the moon, might not realize that the full moon is why we're tossing and turning, why we can't fall asleep, why we're sleeping lightly. But the effect might be there, might be real, might be this ancient rhythm persisting, this ancient adaptation continuing, this ancient connection between humans and moon still functioning, still affecting our biology, still shaping our sleep, even in modern world, even in artificial environments, even when we're not consciously aware of the moon, might still shape our sleep even though we don't face those dangers anymore. This is both beautiful and frustrating. Beautiful because it connects us to our ancestors, connects us to human history, connects us to the ancient relationship between humans and moon, reminds us that we are animals, are biological beings, are shaped by evolution. Frustrating because we don't need this anymore. Don't benefit from light sleep during full moons. Don't face predators that make this vigilance necessary. But biology doesn't change quickly, doesn't adapt to modern environments in just a few generations. We carry patterns from ancient past, carry adaptations from ancestral environments, carry the biological heritage of millions of years of evolution. Human moods might be affected. This is even more controversial, even more debated, even less clear. But it's ancient belief, persistent belief, widespread belief. People throughout history have believed the moon affects moods, affects emotions, affects mental states, affects behavior in psychological ways. This belief exists in many cultures, many time periods, many contexts. This persistence suggests something. Maybe not that the moon actually affects moods, but at least that humans perceive connection, feel connection, experience something that makes this belief intuitive. That makes it feel true, even if science doesn't consistently confirm it. The word lunatic comes from luna, the Latin word for moon. This linguistic connection reveals historical belief, ancient belief, the belief that the moon could make people crazy, could affect sanity, could influence mental state so profoundly as to create madness. Lunatic literally means moonstruck, means affected by the moon, means made crazy by lunar influence. This word exists in English, exists in many languages derived from Latin, shows how deeply this belief was embedded, how seriously it was taken, that a word for madness literally references the moon. Ancient people believed the moon affected sanity. This was not fringe belief, not superstition held only by uneducated people. This was mainstream belief, believed by doctors, by scholars, by educated people. For centuries this was accepted medical theory. The moon could affect the balance of humors, could influence bodily fluids, could create imbalances that led to madness. Full moons were especially associated with insanity, with erratic behavior, with violence, with psychological disturbance. Asylums reported more problems during full moons. Police reported more disturbances. Hospitals reported more psychiatric emergencies. Whether this was real or expectation bias is unclear, but the belief was real, was powerful, was widespread, affected behavior, not just sanity, but behavior more generally. The moon was thought to affect how people acted, how they felt, how they interacted. Full moons were associated with strange behavior, with unusual events, with heightened emotions, with increased conflict. People expected weird things during full moons, expected unusual behavior, expected heightened drama. This expectation itself might have created effects, might have led people to notice unusual events more during full moons, might have created self-fulfilling prophecy. But the belief was real. The association was clear. The moon and behavior were connected in human minds across cultures and centuries, affected mental state, affected emotions, affected mood, affected psychological experience. The moon was thought to influence how people felt internally, not just how they acted externally. Full moons made people feel different, feel more emotional, feel more intense, feel more volatile. Whether this was real or not, people experienced it, felt it, believed it, and this belief shaped how they interpreted their experiences, how they understood their moods, how they made sense of their emotions. The moon became explanatory framework, became way to understand psychological experience, became part of how humans conceptualized mind and mood and emotion. Modern research is mixed. This is honest assessment, scientific assessment. Some studies show small effects of moon phase on human behavior and psychology, show slight increases in emergency room visits during full moons, show slight increases in psychiatric admissions, show slight changes in mood or behavior. But other studies show no effects, show no correlations, show no connection between moon phase and human psychology. The research doesn't give clear answer, doesn't confirm strong lunar effects on human mood or behavior, but also doesn't completely rule them out, shows at most small effects. Effects too small to be practically significant, too small to predict individual behavior, too small to matter in most contexts. Some studies show small effects, emergency room studies, psychiatric admission studies, sleep studies. Some research finds correlations, finds patterns, finds suggestions that the moon might have small influences. These studies are legitimate, are published in peer-reviewed journals, are conducted by serious researchers. They suggest there might be something, might be some effect, might be some residual influence of moon on human biology and behavior. But the effects are small, are inconsistent, are not strong enough to be useful, not strong enough to predict anything, not strong enough to matter much. Some show none. Other studies, equally legitimate, equally well conducted, find nothing, find no correlations, find no effects, find no relationship between moon phase and whatever they're measuring. These studies suggest the effects might not exist, might be artifacts, might be expectation or publication bias, might be random statistical flukes. The mixed results suggest effects are either non-existent or very small, too small to reliably detect, too small to replicate consistently, too small to be meaningful, but the belief persists, despite mixed scientific evidence, despite lack of clear confirmation. The belief that the moon affects human moods and behavior persists. People still believe it, still feel it, still experience it, still attribute strange behavior or unusual moods to the full moon. This persistence is interesting, is worth noting, suggests something even if not what people think. Maybe suggests that humans want connection to the moon, want to feel influenced by cosmos, want to experience themselves as part of natural world, part of lunar cycles, part of something larger than just individual psychology. The intuition persists, the feeling, the sense, the gut feeling that the moon matters, that full moons are different, that behavior changes, that moods shift, that something about full moon nights is special, is different, is charged. People feel this, experience this, notice this. Whether it's real lunar effect or expectation or coincidence doesn't entirely matter. The experience is real. The intuition is powerful. The sense of connection to the moon persists. This might be cultural, might be learned, might be expectation creating experience. But it's real to people who feel it, the sense that the moon affects us, reaches us, influences us, connects to us. This sense is ancient, is universal, is human. Every culture has moon lore, moon beliefs, moon associations. This universality suggests something deep, something fundamental, something about human relationship with the moon. Maybe we are affected in subtle ways, maybe we're not. But we feel affected. We sense connection. We experience the moon as presence that matters, that influences, that affects. This experience itself is meaningful, is part of human relationship with moon, is part of what makes the moon special to humans, affects our minds, or feels like it affects our minds. The moon is associated with imagination, with dreams, with creativity, with madness, with altered states, with psychological experience beyond normal waking consciousness. The moon represents the unconscious, the mysterious, the hidden parts of mind. This is psychological association, symbolic association, but it's powerful. It shapes how humans think about the moon, how we experience the moon, how we relate to the moon. The moon becomes symbol, becomes metaphor, becomes way to talk about psychological experience, about parts of mind that are hidden, that are mysterious, that are beyond rational control, affects our moods, or seems to, or might in ways too subtle to measure clearly, or might not really, but we perceive it that way. The science is unclear, but the experience is real. People feel affected by the moon, feel different during full moons, feel something shift, something change, something subtle but present. Whether this is real lunar effect or cultural expectation or selective attention doesn't diminish the experience, doesn't make it meaningless. The experience is real even if the cause is unclear. Whether this is real or not, the moon clearly affects how we feel. This is undeniable. Whether through biology or culture or expectation or symbol, the moon affects human emotional experience, affects how we feel about night, about darkness, about beauty, about mystery. The moon makes us feel things, makes us feel wonder, makes us feel connected to something larger, makes us feel part of cosmic cycles, makes us feel small but also connected, makes us feel that universe notices us, accompanies us, watches over us. These feelings are real, are meaningful, are part of human experience of the moon, affects how we think about night. The moon transforms night, makes it different, makes it not just absence of sun, but presence of moon. Night with moon is different from night without moon, feels different, looks different, has different quality, different character, different mood. The moon makes night beautiful, makes it mysterious, makes it romantic, makes it magical. Without the moon, night would be just darkness, just waiting for dawn. But with the moon, night becomes its own time, its own world, its own experience worth having. Affects how we experience darkness. Darkness with moonlight is different from complete darkness, is gentler, is softer, is less threatening, is more beautiful. The moon transforms darkness from something frightening into something peaceful, from something hostile into something welcoming, from something to endure into something to enjoy. This transformation is profound, is meaningful, is part of why humans love the moon. Why do we write poems about the moon? Why do we watch the moon? Why do we feel connected to the moon? The moon gives us darkness we can live with, can walk in, can experience without fear. The presence or absence of the moon changes night completely, changes how bright it is. Full moon night is bright, is illuminated. It is almost like twilight. You can see, can navigate, can experience the world, can walk safely, can feel comfortable. New moon night is dark, is truly dark, is profoundly dark, is darkness humans rarely experience in modern world with artificial lights. This darkness reveals stars, reveals Milky Way, reveals universe beyond. Both are valuable, both are beautiful, both are gifts. The moon gives us both, gives us bright nights and dark nights, gives us variety, gives us rhythm, gives us cycles of light and dark that create texture in time, changes how bright it is. This is literal, physical, measurable. Full moon provides significant illumination, enough to see by, enough to walk by, enough to read by if you have good eyes. This brightness is real, is substantial, is important, changes what's possible at night, changes what you can do, changes how safe you feel, changes your experience entirely. New moon provides no illumination, adds nothing to starlight, leaves night truly dark. This darkness is also real, also important, also valuable. Both extremes matter. Both teach us something. Both give us something. Changes how it feels, beyond brightness, beyond practical visibility. The moon changes how night feels emotionally, psychologically. Full moon night feels magical, feels special, feels charged with something, feels different from ordinary nights. New moon night feels mysterious, feels deep, feels like doorway to something beyond. These feelings are real, are part of human experience, are part of why the moon matters. The moon doesn't just provide light, provides emotional experience, provides psychological experience, provides beauty and wonder and mystery, changes everything about night, about darkness, about nighttime experience. The moon is that important, is that influential, is that central to human experience of night. Without the moon, nighttime would be completely different, would be just dark time between days, just period to sleep through, just absence. But with the moon, nighttime becomes its own realm, its own world, its own time worth experiencing. The moon gives us nighttime as distinct time, as valuable time, as beautiful time. This is the moon's gift to human experience, to human life, to human appreciation of the world. The moon makes night beautiful, makes darkness bearable, makes nighttime something precious, something to celebrate, something to enjoy. This is why we love the moon, why we've always loved the moon, why we always will love the moon. The moon transforms night from something to fear into something to treasure. This rhythm is still here, still present, still happening. You can watch it, can observe it, can follow the moon through its phases, can see the transformation from invisible new moon to brilliant full moon and back. This takes a month, takes time you can feel, takes time you can observe, takes time that's human-scaled, not too fast, not too slow, just right for watching, just right for following, just right for creating rhythm in your life. You can live by this rhythm, can notice this rhythm, can let this rhythm structure your awareness of time. This is ancient, this is human, this is natural. The moon glows, not with its own light, but with reflected sunlight. The moon doesn't generate light, doesn't produce light, doesn't create light, has no internal heat, no nuclear fusion, no energy production. The moon is cold, is dead, is inert, but the moon glows, shines, illuminates, reflects sunlight, takes light from the sun and bounces it to earth, becomes a mirror, becomes a reflector, becomes a light source for Earth's nights. This reflection is beautiful, is gentle, is soft. Sunlight is harsh, is direct, is bright and intense and overwhelming. Sunlight contains all colors mixed together, creates white light, creates daylight, creates brightness that makes you squint. But moonlight is different. Moonlight is reflected sunlight, bounced light, second-hand light, light that has traveled from sun to moon to earth, light that has bounced off gray rock, light that has been transformed by reflection. Moonlight is softer, gentler, more peaceful, less intense, less overwhelming, more beautiful. Moonlight has a quality, a character, a feel that's unique, that's different from any other light, softer than sunlight, more mysterious than artificial light, more natural than electric light, more peaceful than any light humans create. Moonlight is ancient light, natural light, light that has illuminated Earth for billions of years, light that your ancestors saw, light that every human has seen, light that dinosaurs saw, light that early mammals saw, light that has watched over Earth forever. This light is still here, still shining, still illuminating, still creating magic in darkness. You can stand in moonlight, can bathe in it, can feel it on your skin, can see by it, can experience it directly. Go outside during full moon. Stand in moonlight away from other lights. Let your eyes adjust. Let darkness reveal details. Watch how moonlight transforms everything, makes everything softer, makes everything gentler, makes everything more peaceful. Colors fade, but shapes remain. Details blur, but forms stay clear. Everything becomes simplified. Everything becomes quieter. Everything becomes more peaceful. This is moonlight's gift. This is the moon's magic. This is why moonlight has inspired poets and artists and dreamers for all of human history. Moonlight is romantic, is associated with love and beauty and mystery. Every culture has moon songs, moon poems, moon stories, moon associations with romance and love and beauty. Why? Because moonlight is beautiful, because moonlight is gentle, because moonlight transforms the world into something magical, something mysterious, something romantic. Night under moonlight is different from night in darkness, is different from day, is its own time, its own world, its own experience. Moonlight creates this, the moon creates this. This ancient companion creates moments of beauty and magic and peace. The moon has been humanity's companion in darkness for all of human history. Before fire, humans had only the moon, only moonlight to see by at night, only the moon to navigate by, only the moon to know when they could travel at night. Only the moon to provide light in darkness. The moon was essential, was crucial, was the difference between helpless darkness and navigable twilight. Humans evolved with the moon, evolved watching the moon, evolved depending on the moon, evolved knowing the moon. Early humans knew the moon intimately, knew its cycles, knew its phases, knew when it would rise and set, knew when it would provide light and when it wouldn't, knew how to use moonlight, how to navigate by it, how to hunt by it, how to travel by it. The moon was teacher, was guide, was companion, was the presence in darkness that made darkness less frightening, less dangerous, less unknown. The moon was there, watching, providing light, providing comfort, providing companionship in the long darkness. This relationship continues. We still watch the moon, still notice the moon, still feel connected to the moon, even in the age of electric lights, even in the age of cities that never go dark, even in the age when we don't need moonlight, we still notice it, still appreciate it, still feel something when we see the moon. This is ancient, this is deep, this is the evolutionary relationship between humans and moon. The moon was our companion, our light in darkness, our guide in night. This relationship shaped us, shaped our brains, shaped our psychology, shaped our sense of beauty and mystery and wonder. The moon still creates wonder, still inspires awe, still makes people stop and look. A full moon rising is spectacular, is beautiful, is something that stops people, makes them pause, makes them look, makes them feel. The moon rising huge and orange on the horizon, appearing enormous, appearing close, appearing magical. This illusion, this moon illusion, makes the moon appear larger near the horizon than high in the sky. Scientists understand why. Has to do with how our brains process size and distance. But understanding doesn't diminish the beauty, doesn't diminish the wonder, doesn't diminish the magic of watching the moon rise. Huge, orange, beautiful, mysterious. The moon inspired early astronomy. Humans watched the moon, noticed patterns, noticed the phases, noticed the cycle, noticed that the moon's appearance changed predictably. This was perhaps humanity's first science, first systematic observation of nature, first recognition of patterns and cycles, first prediction of future events based on past observations. The moon taught humans to watch the sky, to notice patterns, to predict changes, to understand cycles. This was the beginning of astronomy, the beginning of science, the beginning of understanding that the universe follows laws, follows patterns, can be understood through observation. Ancient people tracked the moon, created lunar calendars, predicted moon phases, predicted eclipses. This required careful observation, required record-keeping, required mathematics, required thinking about patterns and cycles. The moon challenged humans, challenged them to observe carefully, to think deeply, to understand patterns. This challenge helped develop human intelligence, helped develop abstract thinking, helped develop mathematics. The moon was teacher, was the first object humans studied scientifically, was the first mystery humans solved through systematic observation. The moon appears during solar eclipses. This is one of nature's most spectacular sights, most beautiful coincidences, most amazing alignments. During a total solar eclipse, the moon passes directly between Earth and Sun, blocks the sun completely, casts its shadow on Earth, creates a moment of darkness during day, creates twilight, creates an experience that's profound, that's moving, that's life-changing for many who witness it. The sun vanishes, the sky darkens, stars appear, the temperature drops, animals behave strangely, everything changes. Then the sun's corona appears, the outer atmosphere, visible only during totality, glowing, streaming, beautiful beyond description. This happens because of an amazing coincidence. The sun is 400 times larger than the moon, but the sun is also 400 times farther away. These ratios almost exactly cancel out. Make the sun and moon appear the same size in Earth's sky. Make perfect total solar eclipses possible. Make the moon capable of exactly covering the sun, revealing the corona, creating the spectacle. This is coincidence, is accident, is luck. The moon doesn't have to be this size, could be larger, could be smaller, could be closer, could be farther, but it happens to be exactly the right size, at exactly the right distance to create perfect total eclipses. This won't last forever. The moon is moving away, remember? 3.8 centimeters per year. Eventually, the moon will be too far, will appear too small, will no longer cover the sun completely, will create annular eclipses where a ring of sun remains visible, but not total eclipses, not the spectacular experience of totality, not the corona. Not the experience that moves people to tears. This is temporary, is for now, is for this time in cosmic history. We're lucky. We live in the time when total solar eclipses are possible, when the moon and sun appear the same size, when we can witness this amazing spectacle. This won't always be true, is temporary, is special, is a gift from the universe. The moon has been walked on. This is profound. Think about it. Humans walked on the moon, left footprints, left equipment, left flags, left evidence of human presence. Between 1969 and 1972, 12 humans walked on the moon. 12 humans experienced the moon directly. 12 humans stood on that ancient surface, looked at Earth from another world, saw Earth hanging in the black sky, saw Earth as moon, saw Earth from the moon's perspective. This is profound. This is historic. This is one of humanity's greatest achievements. Those footprints are still there, still preserved, still visible in photographs taken by lunar orbiters. The footprints of Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, the other 10 moonwalkers, still there, will be there for millions of years. Nothing will erase them. They're permanent. They're humanity's mark on another world, humanity's presence beyond Earth, humanity's reach into space made physical, made permanent, made eternal. Those footprints will outlast nations, will outlast languages, will outlast probably everything about current human civilization, but they'll remain permanently, forever. Humanity was there. Humanity reached the moon. Humanity walked on another world. This is beautiful, is hopeful, is inspiring. Humans can do amazing things, can reach beyond Earth, can explore space, can stand on other worlds. The moon proves this, the moon shows this, those footprints show this. We are not confined to Earth, are not limited to one world, can reach beyond, can explore, can discover, can achieve incredible things. The moon proves this, the lunar landings prove this, those preserved footprints prove this. Humanity reached the moon. This happened, is real, is not ancient history but recent history. People alive today remember watching it, remember seeing it, remember experiencing it. This is our history, our achievement, our reach into space. The moon is target for return. Many nations plan to return, to send humans back, to establish bases, to create permanent presence, to use the moon as stepping stone. The moon contains resources, contains water ice at the poles, contains metals in its crust, contains helium-3 that might be useful for future fusion reactors, contains materials that could be used for construction, for fuel, for life support, for building a permanent human presence beyond Earth. The moon is the obvious first target, the obvious first step, the obvious place to learn how to live beyond Earth. The moon is close, is reachable, is only 3 days away with current technology, is the most accessible place beyond Earth, is the place we know most about, is the place we've already been. Going back is easier than going forward. Establishing presence on the moon is easier than establishing presence on Mars. The moon is training ground, is testing ground, is the place to learn before going farther. Many nations understand this. Many space agencies plan return, plan bases, plan permanent presence, plan to use the moon as humanity's foothold in space. This might happen soon, within years, within a decade. Humans might return to the moon, might establish bases, might begin permanent presence, might begin the process of becoming a multi-world species. The moon will be first step, will be foundation, will be the place where humanity learns to live beyond Earth. This is exciting, is hopeful, is the beginning of something vast, the beginning of humanity's expansion into space, the beginning of reaching beyond our home world. The moon will make this possible, will be the first step, will be humanity's first permanent home beyond Earth. But even if this doesn't happen, even if humans never return, even if the moon remains untouched, the moon is still there, still beautiful, still constant, still companion, still the gentle light in darkness, still the ancient presence watching over Earth. The moon doesn't need humans, doesn't need to be visited, doesn't need to be used. The moon is complete as it is, beautiful as it is, perfect as it is. The moon is there for you to watch, to appreciate, to wonder at, to find peace in. Tonight, the moon is somewhere in its cycle, maybe full, maybe new, maybe somewhere between. Whatever phase it's in, the moon is there, is present, is watching. If you could see it, you'd see that ancient face, those familiar features, those patterns humans have watched for millennia. If you can't see it because of clouds or daylight or new moon phase, it's still there, still orbiting, still present, still watching. The moon is always there. This is certain. This is reliable. This is constant. The moon will rise tonight or has already risen, depending on where you are on Earth, depending on what time it is, depending on the moon's phase, but whether you can see it now or will see it later or saw it earlier, the moon is up there, orbiting, circling Earth, following its ancient path through space. This happens every night, every single night, without exception, without fail, without pause. The moon doesn't take breaks, doesn't stop, doesn't rest. simply continues, simply orbits, simply maintains its eternal journey around our planet, will cross the sky. If you could watch through the entire night, you'd see the moon's path, see it rise in the east, move gradually overhead, set in the west. This crossing takes hours, happens slowly, happens smoothly, happens with the grace of something that has practiced this motion for billions of years. The moon glides across the darkness, moves through constellations, passes stars, continues its westward journey. This motion is Earth rotating beneath the moon. But from our perspective, from our viewpoint on Earth's surface, it appears the moon is moving, appears the moon is traveling, appears the moon is crossing our sky on purpose, following a path, tracing an arc, completing a journey, will set eventually, after hours of crossing the sky. After traveling from horizon to horizon, the moon will sink below the western horizon, will disappear from view, will hide behind Earth itself. This setting doesn't mean the moon is gone, doesn't mean the moon stopped existing, doesn't mean the moon ceased to be. The moon is still there, still orbiting. Now on the other side of Earth, now illuminating other lands, other oceans, other people looking up in wonder. The moon doesn't disappear when you can't see it, doesn't vanish when it sets, simply continues its orbit, simply keeps moving, simply remains present even when hidden from your view, will continue its ancient path, the path it's followed for eons, for billions of years, for longer than life has existed on Earth. This path is predictable, is calculable, is known with precision. Scientists can tell you exactly where the moon will be at any moment, can predict its position years in advance, decades in advance, centuries in advance. This predictability comes from the moon's constancy, from gravity's reliability, from the laws of physics operating perfectly, operating eternally, operating without variation or exception or mistake. The moon follows its path because gravity demands it, because physics requires it, because the universe works according to unchanging laws, will orbit Earth as it has for 4.5 billion years. Think about this duration. Think about this time span. 4,500 million years. Longer than you can truly comprehend. Longer than human imagination can really grasp. Longer than all of human history. Longer than all of human existence. Longer than all of complex life on Earth. The moon has been orbiting since before dinosaurs, since before fish, since before plants, since before anything lived on land, since before the oceans were even fully formed. The moon was there, orbiting, circling, following its path, doing exactly what it does tonight, what it will do tomorrow, what it has always done. Will maintain Earth's stability. This is the moon's most important function, most critical role, most essential contribution. The moon's gravity reaches across space, reaches across the 240,000 miles separating Earth and moon, pulls on Earth, tugs on our planet, creates forces that keep Earth steady, that prevent Earth's axial tilt from wandering, from changing dramatically, from swinging wildly over millennia. Without the moon's stabilizing presence, Earth would wobble, would tilt chaotically, would create extreme climate variations, would make stable seasons impossible, would make complex life difficult or impossible. But the moon prevents this, has prevented this since the moon formed, will prevent this for billions of years to come, will create tides. This happens continuously, happens twice daily, happens reliably and predictably and eternally. The moon's gravity pulls harder on the side of Earth facing the moon, pulls less on the far side. This differential pull creates tidal bulges, creates the rise and fall of ocean water, creates high tides and low tides, creates the ancient rhythm that shaped coastlines, that shaped evolution, that shaped the development of life. These tides never stop, never pause, never fail. As long as the moon orbits Earth, as long as oceans exist, as long as gravity functions, the tides will continue, will rise and fall, will follow the moon's pull, will maintain the rhythm established billions of years ago, will be the silent companion, because the moon has no voice, has no sound, has no way to make noise. The moon orbits in perfect silence, in absolute quiet, in the soundless vacuum of space. Even the moon's surface is silent, completely silent, eternally silent, because the moon has no atmosphere, no air to carry sound waves, no medium for vibration to travel through. If you stood on the moon's surface, you would experience silence, unlike anything possible on Earth. Perfect silence, complete quiet, the absence of all sound. This silence has existed since the moon formed, has existed for billions of years, will exist for billions more. The moon is humanity's silent companion, speaking through presence alone, through gravitational influence, through reflected light, but never through sound, the ancient presence, because the moon is older than almost anything we know, older than any mountain on Earth, older than any ocean, older than any continent, older than any rock formation, older than any life. The moon formed when Earth was young, when the solar system was new, when everything was beginning. The moon has been present through everything that followed, through every geological era, through every evolutionary development, through every extinction event, through every change, through every transformation. The moon witnessed it all, was present for all of it, watched over all of it. This ancient presence continues tonight, continues tomorrow, continues forever, the constant watcher, looking down on Earth, orbiting endlessly, circling perpetually, observing everything. The moon has watched empires rise and fall, has watched species emerge and go extinct, has watched continents drift, has watched mountains form and erode, has watched oceans fill and change, has watched ice ages come and go, has watched humanity emerge from Africa, spread across the globe, develop language, create culture, build civilizations. The moon watched all of this, witnessed all of human history, every war, every peace, every achievement, every tragedy. Every moment of every human life happened under the moon's watch, under the moon's silent observation, under the moon's constant presence. The moon does this without thought, without consciousness, without awareness, without intention. The moon is not alive, is not sentient, is not thinking, is simply rock, simply matter, simply mass in orbit. But this doesn't diminish the moon's importance, doesn't reduce the moon's significance, doesn't lessen the moon's role. The moon doesn't need consciousness to fulfill its function, doesn't need thought to maintain Earth's stability, doesn't need awareness to create tides. Simply existing is enough. Simply being there is sufficient. Simply orbiting accomplishes everything the moon needs to accomplish, without effort. The moon doesn't struggle, doesn't strain, doesn't work hard, doesn't tire. Simply exists in orbit, simply follows the path gravity creates, simply moves according to physical law. This requires no effort, no energy expenditure, no attempt, no trying. Orbital motion, once established, continues indefinitely, continues effortlessly, continues without any need for fuel or power or energy input. The moon orbits because inertia keeps it moving, because gravity keeps it curved, because physics works perfectly. This happens automatically, happens naturally, happens without any need for conscious direction or effort or intention, without awareness. The moon doesn't know it stabilizes Earth, doesn't know it creates tides, doesn't know it affects life, doesn't know anything, has no knowledge, no understanding, no consciousness, no awareness of its own existence, no awareness of its importance, no awareness of the role it plays. The moon simply is, simply exists, simply orbits, and in that simple existence accomplishes everything necessary, provides stability, creates tides, illuminates nights, inspires wonder, affects life, all without knowing, all without trying, all without awareness, simply by existing. This is the profound truth. The moon accomplishes everything just by being there, just by having mass, just by having gravity, just by orbiting. The moon doesn't need to do anything special, doesn't need to try, doesn't need to accomplish tasks or fulfill duties or work toward goals. Simply existing in orbit is enough, is sufficient, is all that's required. The moon's mass creates gravitational pull. That pull stabilizes Earth and creates tides. The moon's surface reflects sunlight. That reflection illuminates nights. Everything the moon does, every function the moon serves, comes simply from existing, simply from being there, simply from being the moon, simply by being there, present, in orbit, circling Earth. This presence is enough, is all that's needed, is all that's required. You don't need consciousness to matter, don't need awareness to be important, don't need intention to serve essential functions. The moon proves this, demonstrates this, shows this truth clearly. The moon simply is, and in being, in existing, in remaining present, the moon does everything necessary, provides everything needed, serves every function required. Presence alone is powerful. Presence alone is sufficient. Presence alone is enough. Simply by orbiting, moving through space, following the path gravity prescribes, circling Earth endlessly, this orbital motion is all the moon does, all the moon has ever done, all the moon will ever do. Yet this simple motion creates everything, creates stability, creates tides, creates the conditions that allowed life to develop, to flourish, to become complex, to eventually produce consciousness, to eventually produce humanity. All from simple orbital motion, all from simply circling Earth, all from following gravity's pull. This is beautiful, is profound, is humbling, that something so simple could be so important, so essential, so fundamental to everything we know. The moon keeps Earth stable. This cannot be overstated, cannot be emphasized enough, cannot be repeated too often. Earth's axial tilt, the 23.5-degree angle at which Earth tilts, would vary dramatically without the moon, would swing wildly, would change Earth's climate catastrophically, would create periods of extreme seasons followed by periods of no seasons, would make the development of complex life extremely difficult, possibly impossible. But the moon's gravity prevents this, locks Earth's tilt in place, keeps it stable, keeps it predictable, keeps it within narrow bounds that allow for stable climate, for predictable seasons, for conditions conducive to life. This stability is the moon's gift, the moon's contribution, the moon's essential function, keeps Earth habitable. By providing this stability, by preventing wild climate swings, by creating tides that shaped evolution, by slowing Earth's rotation through tidal friction, by being exactly the size and distance needed to maintain optimal conditions. All of this keeps Earth habitable, keeps Earth friendly to life, keeps Earth capable of supporting the biosphere we know. Without the moon, Earth might still have life, might still have simple organisms, but complex life, intelligent life, civilization, these might not exist, might never have developed, might have been impossible without the stability the moon provides. The moon keeps Earth habitable, keeps Earth alive with complex life, keeps Earth the verdant blue world we know, keeps Earth alive, not literally. Earth is not alive in itself, but Earth teems with life, overflows with living things, from bacteria to blue whales, from viruses to sequoia trees, from algae to elephants. Life covers Earth, fills every niche, inhabits every environment. From deep oceans to high mountains, from frozen poles to scorching deserts, life is everywhere, and the moon helped make this possible, helped create the conditions allowing life to flourish, helped maintain the stability life needed, helped shape the environment in which evolution proceeded. The moon didn't create life, but the moon helped nurture it, helped sustain it, helped make Earth the living world it is today, just by being there. This phrase deserves repetition, deserves emphasis, deserves contemplation. The moon accomplishes all of this just by being there, just by existing in orbit, just by having mass and gravity and presence. Nothing more is required. Nothing additional is needed. Simple existence is sufficient. This is a powerful lesson, a profound truth, a beautiful realization. You don't always need to do. Don't always need to accomplish. Don't always need to achieve. Sometimes presence is enough. Sometimes being is sufficient. Sometimes existing is all that's required. The moon teaches this, demonstrates this, embodies this truth just by existing, by being real, by being present, by being matter in space. This existence creates effects, creates influence, creates impact. The moon's existence affects Earth profoundly, affects life deeply, affects everything. Yet the moon does nothing intentional, nothing conscious, nothing deliberate, simply exists. And that existence matters, matters enormously, matters fundamentally, matters essentially. Your existence matters too, even when you're not doing, even when you're not achieving, even when you're not accomplishing. Simply existing, simply being here, simply being present. This matters. This has impact. This affects the world around you. Like the moon, your simple existence creates effects, creates influence, creates ripples in reality, just by being the moon, by being itself, by being what it is. The moon doesn't try to be anything else, doesn't wish it were different, doesn't compare itself to planets or stars or anything else, simply is what it is, simply accepts its nature, simply exists as moon. And in being moon, in accepting moonness, in embodying moon completely, the moon fulfills its function perfectly, serves its role ideally, accomplishes everything needed. This is wisdom, is truth, is something to learn from. Be what you are, accept what you are, exist as yourself completely. In doing so, in being yourself fully, you fulfill your function, serve your role, accomplish what you're meant to accomplish. Like the moon, simply by being what you are. You can rest in this tonight, can settle into this truth, can let this reality comfort you. The moon is up there right now, at this very moment, orbiting, pulling on Earth, stabilizing our planet, creating tides, doing everything it has always done, everything it will always do. This happens whether you think about it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're awake or asleep. The moon continues, the moon persists, the moon remains. You can stop thinking, stop worrying, stop trying. The moon will continue doing its work, maintaining Earth, keeping things stable, being present, You don't have to think about it, don't have to manage it, don't have to control it. The moon handles it automatically, effortlessly, eternally, can let go knowing the moon is there, is present, is real, is orbiting above. This knowing can comfort you, can ease you, can help you relax. There's something larger than yourself doing essential work, something beyond your control maintaining important functions, something eternal keeping things stable. You don't have to carry everything, don't have to control everything, don't have to manage everything. The moon is handling its part, is doing its job, is fulfilling its function. You can let go of that, can release that burden, can trust that the moon is doing what the moon does, has always done, will always do, is watching, not consciously, not intentionally, but present nonetheless, overhead, in orbit, circling. The moon's presence is a kind of watching, a kind of witnessing, a kind of being there-ness that feels like observation, like attention, like care. The moon has been present for everything that ever happened on Earth. Every moment of your life happened under the moon's sky, happened while the moon orbited, happened while the moon was there. This presence, this being there-ness, this constancy, feels like watching, feels like the moon knows, feels like the moon cares, even though the moon is unconscious rock, even though the moon has no awareness. The presence feels like companionship, feels like solidarity, feels like you're not alone, is present, right now, at this moment, as you read these words, as you lie in bed, as you prepare for sleep. The moon is there, may be visible through your window, may be hidden by clouds or daylight or buildings, but there nonetheless, orbiting, circling, following its path, being moon. This presence is reliable, is certain, is guaranteed. The moon will not suddenly disappear, will not stop orbiting, will not cease to exist. The moon is there, was there yesterday, will be there tomorrow, will be there for all your tomorrows, for as long as you live, for as long as anyone lives, for billions of years. This presence is permanent, is eternal, is forever. You can count on it, can rely on it, can trust it absolutely, is doing its ancient work, work that began 4.5 billion years ago, work that has continued every moment since, work that will continue for billions of years to come. This work is pulling on Earth with gravity, is stabilizing Earth's tilt, is creating tides, is reflecting sunlight, is being companion, is being presence, is being moon. This work never stops, never pauses, never fails, happens continuously, happens automatically, happens perfectly. The moon does this work right now, while you rest, while you relax, while you prepare for sleep. The work continues, the function persists. The moon remains faithful to its role, to its nature, to its being, keeping Earth steady, preventing the wobble that would occur without lunar gravity, maintaining the axial tilt that creates predictable seasons, ensuring climate stability that life requires. This steadying is constant, is continuous, is eternal, happens every moment, happens without interruption, happens whether anyone notices or not, whether anyone thinks about it or not, whether anyone appreciates it or not. The moon keeps Earth steady regardless, keeps performing this essential function, keeps maintaining this crucial stability, because gravity requires it, because physics demands it, because this is what moons do for planets. What companions do for each other, what presence does for stability, creating tides right now, at this moment. Somewhere on Earth tide is rising, somewhere else tide is falling. Ocean water is moving, is responding to the moon's pull, is following gravity's command. This happens continuously, twice daily at every coastline, high tide, low tide, high tide, low tide. The rhythm never breaks, never stops, never fails, has continued for billions of years, will continue for billions more. The moon creates this, maintains this, ensures this, through simple gravitational pull, through simple presence, through simple being. The tides are the moon's signature, the moon's mark, the moon's visible influence on Earth, proof that the moon is there, proof that the moon matters, proof that presence creates effects, being constant. This is perhaps the moon's most comforting quality, most reassuring characteristic, most peaceful feature. The moon is constant, doesn't change suddenly, doesn't vary unpredictably, doesn't behave erratically. The moon follows rules, follows laws, follows predictable patterns. You can rely on this, can count on this, can trust this completely. When everything else in life is uncertain, when everything else changes, when everything else feels unstable, the moon remains constant, remains predictable, remains reliable. This constancy is anchor, is foundation, is stability in uncertain world. Being reliable, you can trust the moon, can depend on the moon, can count on the moon absolutely. The moon will rise tonight, will rise tomorrow night, will rise every night forever. The moon will create tides, will stabilize Earth, will reflect sunlight, will do everything the moon has always done. This reliability is total, is complete, is absolute. The moon never fails, never stops, never breaks its pattern, never deviates from its path. This reliability, this trustworthiness, this absolute dependability is comforting, is reassuring, is peaceful in a world of uncertainty, in a life of change, in an existence of impermanence. The moon is reliable. The moon is constant. The moon is there, being there, present, real, orbiting overhead. This simple being there-ness is everything, is all that's needed, is all that's required. The moon doesn't need to do anything special, doesn't need to accomplish extraordinary feats, doesn't need to prove itself. Simply being there is enough, is sufficient, is all the moon needs to be. And in being there, in simple presence, in mere existence, the moon accomplishes everything, provides stability, creates tides, illuminates nights, inspires wonder, affects life, all from being there, all from presence, all from existence. This is profound, this is beautiful, this is truth worth contemplating tonight as you drift towards sleep. Being there is enough, presence is sufficient, existence matters. You don't have to do more, don't have to accomplish more, don't have to be more. Being there, being present, being yourself is enough, like the moon, simply enough. Sleep now, rest now, let go now. The moon is watching, the moon is there, the moon is constant, you are safe, Earth is stable, everything continues. The ancient dance continues. The moon orbits, Earth spins, life continues. You can rest, can sleep, can let go. The moon ensures this, makes this possible, makes this safe. Sleep peacefully, sleep deeply, sleep well. The moon is watching over you, over Earth, over everything, as it always has, as it always will, forever. Good night.